A Character by William Wordsworth. I marvel how nature could ever find space for so many strange contrasts in one human face. Where's thought and no thought, and where's paleness and bloom, and bustle and sluggishness, pleasure and gloom. Where's weakness and strength, both redundant and vain, such a strength as, if ever affliction and pain could pierce through a temper that soft to disease, would be rational peace, a philosopher's ease. Where's indifference, alike when we fail or succeeds, and attention full 10 times as much as one needs. Pride where no envy, where so much of joy and mildness and spirit both forward and coy. Where's freedom, and sometimes a defiant stare of shame scarcely seeming to know which she's where. Where's virtue, the title it surely may claim, yet once heaven knows what to be worth your name. This picture from nature may seem to depart, yet the man would at once run away with your heart, and I for 5 centuries right gladly would be such an odd, such a kind, happy creature as he.
A Complaint by William Wordsworth. Where's a chance, and I am poor? Your love hath been no long ago a fountain at my fond heart's door, whose only business was to flow, and flow it did, not taking heed of its own bounty or my need. What happy moments did I count, blessed was I when all bliss above. Now for what consecrated fount of murmuring, sparkling, living love, what have I, shall I dare to tell, or comfortless and hidden well? A well of love that may be deep, I trust it is, and never dry. What matter, if the waters sleep in silence and obscurity? Such change, and at the very door of my fond heart, have made me poor. A Farewell by William Wordsworth. Farewell, thou little nook of mountain ground, the rocky corner and the lowest stair of that magnificent temple which doth bound one side of our whole vale of Gandrere. Sweet garden orchard, eminently fair, the loveliest spot that man hath ever found. Farewell, we leave you for heaven's peaceful care, we and the cottage which thou darst surround. Our boat is safely anchored by the shore, and where will safely ride when we are gone. The flowering shrubs that deck our humble door will prosper, for untended and alone. Fields, goods, and far-off chattels we have none. These narrow bones contain our private store of things earth makes and sun doth shine upon. Here away in our sight we have no more. Sunshine and shore be with you, but and hell. For 2 months now in vain we should be sought. We leave you here in solitude to dwell with these our latest gifts of tender thought. Thou like the morning in thy saffron coat, bright gowan and marsh marigold, farewell, whom from the borders of the lake we brought, and placed together near our rocky well. We go for one to whom you will be dear, and she will prize this bower with Indian shed, our own contrivance, building without peer. A gentle maid whose heart is lowly bred, whose pleasures are in wild fields gathered, with joyousness and with a thoughtful cheer, will come to you herself will wit, and laugh a blessed life that we led here. Dear spot, which we have watched with tender heat, bringing we chosen plants and blossoms blown among the distant mountains, flower and wheat, which thou hast taken to we as thy own, making all kindness registered and known. Thou for our sakes, thou nature's child indeed, fair in thyself and beautiful alone, hast taken gifts which thou dost little need. And our most constant, yet most fickle place, thou hast thy wayward moods, as thou dost show to them who look not daily on the face. Who being loved, in love no bounds dost know, and say'st, when we forsake we, let them go. O easy-hearted thing, with our wild race of weeds and flowers, to return be slow, and travel with the year at a soft pace. Help us to tell her tales of years gone by, and with sweet spring, the best beloved and best, joy will be flown in its mortality. Something must stay to tell us of rest. Here thronged with prime roses, the steep rocks pressed, glittered at evening like a starry sky, and in this bush our sparrow built her nest, of which I sing one song when it will not die. O happy garden, whose seclusion deep hath been so friendly to industrious hours, and to soft slumbers that did gently steep our spirits, carrying with them dreams of flowers, and wild notes warbled among leafy bowers. 2 burning months let summer overleap, and, coming back with her, who will be ours, into the bosom we again shall creep. A Flower Garden by William Wordsworth. Tell me ye sapphires that unfold, while fluttering o'er the gay recess, pinions that fan the teeming mould of Eden's blissful wilderness, that only softly stealing hours were close the peaceful lives of flowers? Save in the moving creature saw all kinds commingled without fear, bewailing alike indulgent law for the still growth that prosper here, yet wanton fawn and kid forbear the half-blown rose the lilies bear? Or peep they often from the beds, and prematurely disappeared, devour like pleasure earth spreads a bosom to the sun endeared? If such their harsh and timely doom, it falls not here on bud or bloom. All summer long the happy eve of this fair spot her flowers may bind, nor e'er with ruffled fancy grieve from the next glance she casts to find that love for little things by fate is rendered vain as love for great. Yet where the guardian fancy's wound, so subtle our eyes beguiled, we see not nor suspect a bound, no more than in some forest wild. The sight is free as air are crossed, only by art and nature lost. And though the jealous turf refused by random footsteps to be pressed, and feet on never sullied dews, yet gentle breezes from the west, before the ministers of hope are tempted to the sunny slope. And high the throngs of birds resort, some inmates lodged in shady nests, some perched on steams of stately port, but not to welcome transient guest. While high and leveret is seen at play, a peer not more shut out one way. Apt emblem for reproof of pride, with delicate enclosure shows of modest kindness that would hide the firm protection she bestows, of manners like its viewless fence, ensuring peace to innocence. Thus spake the more amused, her wing abruptly spreading to depart. She left the farewell offering, memento for some docile heart, that may respect the good old age, when fancy was truth's willing page, and truth would skim the flowery glade, though entering but as fancy's shade. A gravestone upon the floor in the cloisters of Worcester Cathedral, by William Wordsworth. Miserrimus, neither name nor date, prayer, text or symbol, graven upon the stone. Naught but that word assigned to the unknown, that solitary word to separate from all, and cast a cloud around the fate of him who lies blendeth. Most wretched one who, choose his epitaph, himself alone could thus have dared the grave to agitate, and claim among the dead this awful crown. No doubt that he marked also for his own close to these cloistral steeps the burial place, and a foot might fall with heavier tread, trampling upon his wildness. Stranger, pass softly, to save the contrite Jesus bled.
A morning exercise by William Wordsworth. Fancy who leads the pastime of a glad, full of its pleasant a wayward dart to throw, sending sad shadows of the things not said, peopling the harmless fields with signs of woe, when her sway, a simple forest cry, becomes an echo of man's misery. Brief ravens croak of death, and when the owl tries his two voices for favourite strain to reach true, the unsuspected fowl forebodes misshape, or seems but to complain. Fancy, intent to harass and annoy, can thus pervert the evidence of joy. From border wilds where naked Indians stray, myriads of notes attest to subtle skill. A feathered taskmaster cry, work away, and in the irritation, why poor well, is heard the spirit of the toil-worn slave, lashed out of life, not tried in the grave. What a wonder, at abiding ends and lail, stepped in dire grief a voice of Philomel, and with sweet messenger of summer days, but swallowed, twittered, subject to like spell, but never could fancy bend the buoyant lark to melancholy service. Hark, oh hark! The daisy sleeps upon the leeward lawn, not lifting yet the head with evening boat, but he is risen, the latest star of dawn, glittering and twinkling near yon rosy cloud, bright gem instinct with music, vocal spark, that happiest bird that sprang out of the ark. Hail blessed above all kinds, sublimely skilled, restless, with fixed to balance, high with low, or leaves the halcyon free a hopes to bid, on such forbearance as the deep may show, perpetual flight, unchecked by earthly ties, leaves to wandering bird of paradise. Fateful, forth swift as lightning, the meek dove, yet more half nature, reconciled and we, so constant with the downward eye of love, yet an evil signingless to free, so humble, yet so ready to rejoice, in power of ring never-wearing voice. To the last point of vision and beyond, mount daring wilder, with love-promoted strain, twixt we and wind a never-failing bond, thrills not the less the bosom of a plain. Yet mightst thou seem proud privilege, to sing all independent of the leafy spring. How would it please old ocean to partake with sailors longing for breeze and wane, the harmony the notes most gladly make, the earth resembles most his own domain, wherein yourself might welcome with pleasured ear these mansions mountain towards a native sphere. Gentle by heaven attracted, whom's no bars to daily light, known debtor forward pursuit. 'Tis well that some sage instinct when the stars come forth at evening keeps we still and mute. For not an eyelid could to sleep incline, were thou mornworm singing as they shine.
A Night Piece by William Wordsworth, where skies overcast with a continuous cloud of texture close, heavy and wan, whitened by the moon, which through that veil is indistinctly seen, a dull contracted circle yielding light, so feeble spread, but not a shadow falls, requiring the ground from rock, plant, tree, or tower. At length a pleasant, instantaneous gleam startles the pensive traveller while he treads his lonesome path with unobserving eye bent earthwards. He looks up, the clouds are split asunder, and above his head he sees the clear moon and the glory of the heavens. There in a black blue wall she sails along, followed by multitudes of stars, which small and sharp and bright along the dark abyss drive as she drives. For fast the wheel obey, yet vanish not. The wind is in the tree, they are silent. Still we roll along, immeasurably distant, and the wall built round by rose white clouds, enormous clouds, still deepens its unfathomable depth. At length the vision closes, and the mind, not undisturbed by the delight it feels, which slowly settles into peaceful calm, is left to muse upon the solemn scene. A Night Thought by William Wordsworth. Lo, the moon along the sky sails with a happy destiny. Oft is she hid from mortal eye, or dimly seen, but in the clouds asunder fly, or bright and mien. Far different we, a forward race, thousands for which in fortune's grace, with chariot silence of pace, your way pursue, in great severe smileless face, the whole year through. If kindred humours would make my spirit drop for drooping's sake, of fancy following in the wake, bright ship of heaven, a counter impulse let me take, and be forgiven. A Place of Burial in the south of Scotland by William Wordsworth. Part fenced by man, part by rugged steep, that curbs a foaming brook, a graveyard lies, a hearth's couching place for fearless sleep, which moonlit elves foreseen by credulous eyes enter and dance. Of church or Sabbath ties, no vestige now remains, yet fiver creep, bell fronts, and in lowly anguish weep their prayers out to the wind and naked skies. Proud tomb is none, but ruddily sculptured knights, the humble choice of plain old times, are seen, level with earth, among the hillocks green, union not sad, when sunny daybreak smites the spangled turf, and neighbouring thickets ring with jubilate for the choirs of spring. A Poet, he hath put his heart to school, by William Wordsworth. A poet, he hath put his heart to school, nor dares to move unpropped upon the staff, which art hath lodged within his hand must laugh, where precept only, and shed tears by rule. The art be nature, the life current quaff, and let the groveler sip his stagnant pool, and fevered else when critics grave and cool have killed him, scorn should write his epitaph. How does the meadow flower its bloom unfold? Because the lovely little flower is free down to its root, and in that freedom bold. And so the grandeur of a forestry comes not by casting in a formal mould, but from its own divine vitality. A Poet's Epitaph by William Wordsworth. Art thou a statesman, in the then of public business trained and bred? First learn to love on living men, then mayst thou think upon the dead. A lawyer art thou, draw not nigh, go carry to some other place the hardness of thy coward eye, the falsehood of thy solemn face. Art thou a man of purple cheer, a rosy man right plumb to see? Approach, yet doctor, not too dear, with grave no cushion is for thee. Art thou a man of gallant pride, a soldier, no man of chaff? Welcome, but lay thy sword aside, and lean upon a passion's staff. Physician art thou, one all eyes, philosopher, a fingering slave, wandered with people and botanized upon his mother's grave? Wrapped closely in my sensual fleece, I'll turn aside and take, I pray, that he below may rest in peace, that pinpoint of his soul away. Moralist perchance appears, lead, heaven knows how, to his poor sod, and he has neither eyes nor ears, himself his world and his own God. One to whose smooth-rubbed soul can cling, nor form nor feeling great nor small, a reasoning self-sufficient thing, intellectual all in all, should close the door, press down the latch, sleep in the intellectual crust, nor lose 10 tickings of a watch neath his unprofitable dust. But who is he with modest looks, and clad in homely russet brown, and murmurs near the running brooks a music sweeter than their own? He is retired as a noontide dew, a fountain in a noonday grove, and you must love him, ere to you he will seem worthy of your love. The outward truths of sky and earth, of hill and valley he has viewed, and impulses of deeper birth have come to him in solitude. And common things that round us lie, some random truths he can impart, the harvest of a quiet eye that broods and sleeps on his own heart. But he is weak, both man and boy, hath been an idler in the land, contented if he might enjoy the things which others understand. Come hither in the hour of strength, come, weak as is a breaking wave, here stretch thy body at full length, or build the house upon this grave. A Poet to his Grandchild by William Wordsworth. Son of my buried son, where was thy hand, as clasping mine, it saddens me to think, how wont may press thee down, and with thee sink, thy children left untied through vain demand. of culture, even to feel or understand. My simple slave to their memory may cling, hard fate, which hardly need to be, did justice mold the statutes of a land. A book time cherished and an honored name, are high rewards, but bound by nature's claim or reasons. No hope spun in timid line from out the bosom of a modest home. Extend through unambitious years to come, my careless little one, for we and wine.
A sketch by William Wordsworth. The little hedgerow birds that peek along the road regard him not. He travels on, and in his face, his step, his gait is one expression. Every limb, his look and bending figure, all bespeak a man who does not move with pain, but moves with thought. He is insensible, subdued to settled quiet. He is one by whom all effort seems forgotten, one to whom long patience hath such mild composure given, that patience no doth seem a thing of which he hath no need. He is by nature led to peace so perfect, that the young behold with envy what the old man hardly feels. A slumber did my spirit seal, by William Wordsworth. A slumber did my spirit seal. I had no human fears. She seemed a thing what could not feel the touch of earthly years. No motion has she known, no force. She neither hears nor sees, rolled round in earth's diurnal course, with rocks and stones and trees.
A whirl blast from behind the hill, by William Wordsworth. A whirl blast from behind the hill rushed over the wood with startling sound, and all at once the air was still, and showers of hailstones pattered round. Where leafless oaks towered high above, I sate within an undergrowth of tallest hollies, tall and green. A fair bough was never seen. Year to year the spacious floor with withered leaves is covered o'er, you couldn't lay a hair between. All the year the bower is green. But see, ere the hailstones drop, the withered leaves all skip and hop. There's not a breeze, no breath of air, yet here and there and everywhere, along the floor beneath the shade, by those embowering hollies made, the leaves in myriads jump and spring, as if with pipes and music rare, some Robin Goodfellow were where all those leaves jump and spring, where each joy is a living thing. Oh, grant me heaven a heart at ease, that I may never cease to find, even in appearances like these, enough to nourish and stir my mind.
Afterthought by William Wordsworth. I thought of thee, my partner and my guide, as being passed away, vain sympathies. For backward done, as I cast my eyes, I see what was and is and will abide. Still glides the stream and shall forever glide. The form remains, the function never dies, while we, the brave, the mighty and wise men, who in our morn of youth defied the elements, must vanish. Be it so. Enough if something from our hands have power to live and act and serve a future hour, and if, as toward the silent tomb we go, through love, through hope, and fate's transcendent dower, we feel that we are greater when we know.
Among all lovely things my love had been, by William Wordsworth. Among all lovely things my love had been, noted were the stars, the flowers that grew about her home, but she had never seen a glowworm, never one, and this I knew. While riding near home one stormy night, a single glowworm did I chance to espy. I gave a fervent welcome to the sight, and from my horse I leapt, great joy had I. Upon a leaf the glowworm did I lay, to bear it with me through the stormy night. And as before, it shone without dismay, albeit putting forth a fainter light. When to the dwelling of my love I came, I went into the orchard quietly, and left the glowworm, blessing it by name, laid safely by itself beneath a tree. The whole next day I hoped, and hoped with fear. At night the glowworm shone beneath a tree. I led my Lucy to the spot. Look here, what joy it was for her, and joy for me. An Old Man Travelling, by William Wordsworth. The little hedgerow birds that peck along the road regard him not. He travels on, and in his face, his step, his gait is one expression. Every limb, his look and bending figure, all bespeak a man who does not move with pain, but who moves with thought. He is insensible, subdued, to settle quiet. He is one by whom all effort seems forgotten, one to whom long patience is such mild composure given, that patience now doth seem a thing of which he hath no need. He is by nature led to peace so perfect, that the young behold with envy what the old man hardly feels. Ask him whither he was bound, and what the object of his journey. He replied, Sir, I am going many miles to take a last leave of my son in Marina, for my seafight has been brought to Falmouth, and they are staying in the hospital. Andrew Jones, by William Wordsworth. I hate that Andrew Jones. He bred his children up to waste and pillage. Wish the presking of the drum with its entire sound would come and sweep me from the village. I say not this because he laughs, for the long day to swear and tipple, but for the poor dear sake of one to whom a foul deed he had done, a friendless man, a travelling cripple. Of this poor crawling helpless wretch some horseman who was passing by a penny on the ground had thrown, and the poor cripple was alone and could not stop, no help was nigh. Inch-thick the dust lay on the ground, for it had long been droughty weather, so with his death the cripple rode among the dust that he had brought the halfpennies together. It chanced that Andrew passed that way just at the time, and there he found the cripple in the midday heat standing alone. At his feet he saw the penny on the ground. He stopped and took the penny up, and the cripple near drew, quoth Andrew, under half a crown what a man finds is all his own, and so, my friend, good day to you. And hence, I said with Andrew's voice, will all be trained to waste and pillage, and wished the pressing of a drum with its entire sound would come and sweep him from the village. Anecdote for Fathers by William Wordsworth. I have a boy of 5 years old, his face is fair and fresh to see, slim sarcasm beauty small and dearly he loves me. And morn we strolled in our dry walk or quiet house all full in view, and held such intermittent talk as we are wont to do. Our thoughts and former pleasures ran, our thought of Kiev's delightful shore, my pleasant home when spring began a long, long year before. A day it was when I could bear to think and think and think again, with so much happiness to spare I could not feel a pain. Always by my side, so slim and graceful in his rustic dress, and oftentimes I talked to him in very idleness. The young lambs ran a pretty race, the morning sunshine bright and warm. Kilth, said I, was a pleasant place, and so was Lisbon farm. And the boy which liked you more, I said, and took him by the arm. Armed by Kilth's delightful shore, here at Lisbon farm. Tell me, had you rather be, I said, and by the arm, at Kilth's shore by the green sea, or here at Lisbon farm. And careless Mutter looked at me, while still I held him by the arm, and said, the Kilth had rather be than they at Lisbon farm. No, little Edward, say why so, my little Edward, tell me why. I do not know why this is strange, said I. For here woods and green hills warm, there surely must some reason be, why you would change sweet Lisbon farm for Kilth by the green sea. At this my boy's fair and slim hung down his head, nor made reply. 5 times did I say to him, why, Edward, tell me why. His head he raised, was in sight, caught his eye, he saw it plain, for house top glittering bright, a broad and gilded vein. The boy's tongue and look, and thus to me he made reply, and the Kilth was no weathercock, and that's the reason why. Oh dearest boy, my heart, for better lore would seldom yearn, wherever teach the 100th part, or what from thee I learn. Anticipation by William Wordsworth. Shout for a mighty victory is won, on British ground the invaders are laid low. The breath of heaven has drifted them like snow, and left them lying in the silent sun, never to rise again, the work is done. Come forth, ye old men, now in peaceful show, and greet your sons. Drums beat and trumpets blow. Make merry, wives, ye little children, stun your granddames' ears with pleasure of your noise. Clap, infants, clap your hands, divine must be the triumph, when the very worst, the pain, and even the prospect of our brethren slain, have something in it which your heart enjoys, and glory will they sleep in endless sanctity.
At Sea of the Isle of Man by William Wordsworth. Bold words affirmed, in days when fate was strong, and doubts and scruples seldom teased the brain, but no adventurous bark had power to gain these shores if he approached them bent on wrong. For suddenly, up conjured from the main, misdrows to hide the landward search, though long and eager, might be still pursued in vain. Oh fancy, what an age was that for song, but age were now by laws inanimate. As men believed, the waters were impelled, the air controlled, the stars their courses held, but element and orb on acts that wait, of powers endued with visible form, instinct with will, into their work by passion linked.
Blest statesman, he whose mind's unselfish will, by William Wordsworth. Blest statesman, he whose mind's unselfish will leaves him at ease among grand thoughts, whose eye sees that apart from magnanimity. Wisdom exists not, nor the humbler skill of prudence, disentangling good and ill with patient care. But woe assaults from high, they daunt not him who holds his ministry resolute at all hazards to fulfil its duties, prompt to move, but firm to wait, knowing things rashly sought are rarely found. That for the functions of an ancient state, strong by your charters, free because imbound, servant of Providence, not slave of fate perilous, a sweeping change, or chance unsound.
British Freedom by William Wordsworth. It is not to be thought of it the flood of British freedom, which to the open sea of a word's praise, from dark antiquity, have flowed, with pomp of waters understood, rose though it be full often to a mud, which spurns the check of salutary bands, where this most famous stream in bogs and sands should perish, and to evil and to good be lost for ever. In our halls is hung armory of the invincible knights of old. We must be free or die, who speak the tongue that Shakespeare spake, the fate and morals hold which Milton held. In everything we are sprung of earth's first blood, half titles manifold.
Brook, whose society the poet seeks, by William Wordsworth. Brook, whose society the poet seeks, int and his wasted spirits to renew, and whom the curious painter doth pursue through rocky passes, among flowery creeks, and tricks we dancing down the water breaks. If wish the mind some type of thee to view, thee not we thyself, I would not do like Grecian artist, give thee human cheeks, channels for tears, nor nay I shouldst for be, have neither limbs, feet, feathers, joints, nor hairs. It seems the eternal soul is clothed on thee with pure robes and woes of flesh and blood, and hath bestowed on thee a safer good, and varied joy, and life without its cares. By the Seashore Isle of Man, by William Wordsworth. Why stand we gazing on the sparkling brine, with wonder smit by its transparency, and all enraptured with its purity? Because the unsustained, the clear, the crystalline, hath ever in them something of binning. Whether in gem, and water, or in sky, a sleeping infant's brow, or wakeful eye of a young maiden, wholly not divine. Scarcely the hand forbears to dip its palm, forbearance drawn as from a mountain well. Temptation sent as in the liquid calm, our daily remain seems no obstacle to intensious plunging in deep sea, and reeling in long embrace with we. By the Seaside, by William Wordsworth. The sun is couched, the sea full gone to rest, and the wild storm hath somewhere found a nest. Ere slumber's wave with wave no longer strives, only heaven of the deep survives. Telltale motion, soon will it be laid, and by the tide alone the waters wait. Stealthy withdrawings, intermingling smile, of light with shade and beauty reconciled, such is a prospect far as sight can range, with soothing recompense of welcome change. Where now the ships that drove before the blast, threatened by angry breakers as they passed, and by a train of flying clouds bemocked, or in the hollow surge as anchor rocked, as on a bed of death? Some lodged in peace, safe by his care, who bade the tempest cease, and some, too heedless of past danger, caught fresh gales to waft them to the far-off port. But near or hanging sea and sky between, not one of all those winged powers is seen in a course, in the mid this quiet herd. Yet oh, how gladly would the air be stirred by some acknowledgment of thanks and praise, soft in its temper as those whisper lays sung to the Virgin, while accordant oars urge the slow bark along Calabrian shores. As sea-borne service through the mountains felt, till into one loud vision all things melt. Or likewise hymns that soothe with graver sound a Gallic host of Norway iron-bound, and from wide and open Baltic rise with punctual care the Phrygian harmonies. Hush not the voices here, but why repine? Now when the star of eve comes forth to shine in British waters with that look benign, ye mariners that plough your onward way, or in the haven rest, or sheltering bay, may silent thanks at least to God be given, with a full heart, our thoughts are heard in heaven.
By the side of a grave some years after, by William Wordsworth. Long time his pulse have ceased to beat, but benefits his gift we trace, expressed in every eye we meet, around this dear vale, his native place. To stately hall and cottage rude, afloat from his life what still they hold, light pleasures every day renewed, and blessing half a century old. How true of heart, of spirit gay, thy thoughts were not already gone from memory, prolong their stay for charity's sweet sake alone. Such a solace find we for our loss, and what beyond this thought we crave comes in the promise from the cross, shining upon the happy grave. Calm is all nature as a resting wheel, by William Wordsworth. Calm is all nature as a resting wheel. The kine are couched upon the dewy grass, the horse alone seen dimply as I pass. His groping audibility's later meal darks the ground as slumber seems to steal over vale and mountain in the starless sky. Now in this blank of things a harmony, how felt and how created, comes to heal that grief for which the senses still supply fresh food. For only when memory is hushed, am I at rest. My friends, restrain those busy cares that would allay my pain. Oh, leave me to myself, nor let me feel the officious touch that makes me drop again.
Composed after reading a newspaper of the day, by William Wordsworth. People, your chains are the reeling link by link. Soon shall the rich be leave down the poor, meet them halfway. Vain boast, for these, the more by would rise, must lower sink, till by repentance stung, they fear to think, on all lie prostrate, save the tyrant few, bending quick turns each other to undo, and mix the poison, they themselves must drink. Mistrust thyself and country, chase the cry. Knowledge will save me from the threatened woe. For if another rush once more will know, yet on presumptuous wing as far would fly above the knowledge as we dared to go, or will provoke a heavier penalty. Composed among the ruins of a castle in North Wales by William Wordsworth. Through shattered galleries and roofless halls, wandering with timid footsteps of betrayed, with stranger sighs, no scruples to upbraid old time, for he, gentlest among thralls of destiny, upon whose bones have laid his linear touches, soft as light that falls on the one moon, upon the towers and walls, light deepening the profoundest sleep of shade, relic of kings, wreck of forgotten wars, to winds abandoned and the prying stars, time loves thee, at this call the season twine, luxuriant rests around by forehead hoar, and though hast pomp nor changes can restore, a soothing recompense his gift is wine. Composed at the same time and on the same occasion by William Wordsworth. I dropped my pen and listened to the wind that sang of trees uptorn on vessels toast, a midnight harmony, and wholly lost to the general sense of man by chains confined of business, care, or pleasure, or resigned to timely sleep. Found I the impassionate strain, which without aid of numbers I sustain, like exception from the world will find. Yet some with apprehensive ear shall drink a dirge devolute breathed our source past, and to the attendant promise will give heed the prophecy, like weather of his wild blast, which, while it makes the heart with sadness shrink, tells also of bright calms that shall succeed. Composed by the seashore, by William Wordsworth. What mischief cleaves to unsubdued regret, or fancy sickens by vague hopes beset, or baffled projects on the spirit prey, and fruitless wishes eat the heart away. The sailor knows, he best, whose lot is cast on relentless sea that holds him fast, on change dependent, and the fickle star of power, through long and melancholy war. Oh sad it is in sight of foreign shores, daily to think on old familiar doors. Hearts laughed in childhood and angustal force, or tossed about along a waste of foam, to ruminate on that delightful home, which with the dear befrauded was to come. Or came and was and is, yet meets the eye, never but in a world of memory. Or in a dream recalled, whose smoothest range is crossed by knowledge or by dread of change, and if not so, whose perfect joy makes sleep a thing too bright for breathing man to keep. Hail to the virtues which a perilous life extracts from nature's elemental strife, and welcome glory won in battles fought as bravely as the foe was keenly sought. But to each gallant captain and his crew a less imperious sympathy is due, such as my burst nor yields while moonbeams play in the mute sea in this unruffled bay. Such as with promptly flow from every breast, where good men, disappointed in the crest of wealth and power and honours, long for rest, having known the splendors of success, sigh for the obscurities of happiness.
Composed during a storm by William Wordsworth. One who was suffering tumult in his soul, yet failed to seek the sure relief of prayer, went forth, his course surrendering to the care of a fierce wind, while midday lightnings prowl insidiously, untimely thunders growl, while trees, dim seen in frenzied numbers, tear the lingering remnant of her yellow hair, and shivering wolves, surprised with darkness, howl as if the sun were not. He raised his eye, soul-smitten, for that instant did appear large space, mid dreadful clouds of purest sky, and azure disk, shield of tranquillity, invisible, unlooked for, minister of providential goodness evernight. Composed in Roslin Chapel during a storm by William Wordsworth. The wind is now by organist, a clank we know not whence, ministers for bell to mark some change of service. As the swell of music reached its height, and even when sank the notes in prelude, Roslin, to a blank of silence how it thrilled thy sumptuous roof, pillars and arches, not in vain time-proof, where Christians right be waiting. From what bank came those live herbs? Where would hand were they sown, where dew falls not, where raindrops seem unknown? Yet in the temple they a friendly niche, share with the sculptured fellows that green-grown copy the beauty more and more and preach, while mute of all things blending into one.
Composed in the valley near Dover on the day of landing by William Wordsworth. Here on our native soil we breathe once more. The crows, the smokewood curls, that sound of bells. Those boys who in yon meadow groaned in white-sleeved shirts are playing, and roar of the waves breaking on the chalky shore. All are English. Oft have I looked round with joy in Kent's green vales, but never found myself so satisfied and hard before. Europe is yet in bonds, but let them pass, fought for another moment. Thou art free, my country, and 'tis joy enough and pride for 1 hour's perfect bliss. So treat the grace of England once again, and hear and see, with such a dear companion at my side.
Composed on a May morning by William Wordsworth. Live with your lambs like a day is just begun, yet nature seems to them a heavenly guide. Does joy approach? They meet the coming tide, and silence avoid as now they shun pale twilight's lingering glooms, and in the sun coach near their dams with quiet satisfied, or gambol, each with his shadow at his side, varying its shape wherever he may run. As they from turf yet hoar with sleepy dew all turn, and court the shining and the green, the herbs look up, and opening flowers are seen. Why to God's goodness cannot we be true, and so, his gifts and promises between, feed to the last on pleasures ever new?
Composed on the banks of a rocky stream by William Wordsworth. Dogmatic teachers of a snow-white fur, ye wrangling schoolmen of a scarlet hood, who with keenness not to be withstood, press the point home or falter and demur, checked in your course by many a teasing burr. These natural consul seats your acrid blood might cool, and as a genius of a flood steps willingly to animate and spur each lighter function slumbering and restrained. Yon eddying of foam whose airy gleams, but o'er the pavement of a surging stream's well-filed flesh, as none it might detain, with subtle speculations hardly vain, but surely less than that your far-fetched themes. Composed upon Westminster Bridge by William Wordsworth. Earth has not anything to show more fair, dull would he be of soul who could pass by. A sight so touching in its majesty, the city now doth like a garment were the beauty of the morning. Silent bare, ships' towers, domes, theatres and taverns lie open upon the fields and to the sky. All bright and glittering in the smokeless air, never did sun more beautifully steep in his first splendour, valley, rock or hill. Never saw I, never felt, a calm so deep. The river glideth at his own sweet will, dear God, the very houses seem asleep, and all that mighty heart is lying still. Desire we past illusions to recall by William Wordsworth. Desire we past illusions to recall, to reinstain what fancy would hide truths whose thick veiled science has drawn aside. And let his age high as she may instil, in esteem the thirst that wrought man's fall. The universe is infinitely wide, and conquering reason, if self-glorified, can nowhere move uncrossed by some new wall or gulf of mystery, which thou alone, imaginative fate, canst overleap, and progress toward the fount of love, the throne of power, whose ministers the records keep of periods fixed and laws established, less flesh to excel than prove its nothingness. Ellen Irwin by William Wordsworth. Fair Ellen Irwin, when she sate upon the brass of Kirtle, was lovely as a Grecian maid adorned with wreaths of myrtle. Young Adam Bruce beside her lay, and there did they beguile the day, with love and gentle speeches beneath the budding beeches. For many knights and many squires the Bruce had been selected, and Gordon, fairest of them all, by Ellen was rejected, sad tidings to the noble youth. For it may be proclaimed with truth, if Bruce have loved sincerely, the Gordon loves as dearly. And what is Gordon's beauteous face, and what are Gordon's crosses to them who sit by Kirtle's brass upon the verdant mosses? Alas, that ever he was born! The Gordon couched behind a thorn sees them, and their caressing beholds them blessed and blessing. Proud Gordon cannot bear the thoughts that through his brain are travelling, and starting up to Bruce's heart, he launched the deadly javelin. Fair Ellen saw it when it came, and stepping forth to meet the same, did with her body cover the youth her chosen lover. Falling into Bruce's arms, thus died the beauteous Ellen, was from her heart of true love the mortal spear repelling. And Bruce, as soon as he had slain the Gordon, sailed away to Spain, and fought with rage incessant against the Crescent. But many days and many months and many years ensuing, his wretched knight did vainly seek the death that he was wooing. So coming back across the wave, without a groan on Ellen's grave, his body he extended, and there so ended. Now ye, who willingly have heard the tale I have been telling, may in Kirtle churchyard through the grave of lovely Ellen. By Ellen's side the bruise is laid, and for the stone upon his head may no rude hand efface it, and its forlorn hick shake it. Expostulation and Reply by William Wordsworth. Why, William, on that old grey stone, was for the length of half a day, why, William, sit you thus alone and dream your time away? Why your books, that light bequeatheth to beings else forlorn and blind, up and drink the spirit breath from dead men to their kind? You look round on your mother earth, as if she for no purpose bore you, as if you were her firstborn birth, and none had lived before you. One morning thus, by Elswade Lake, when life was sweet I knew not why, to my good friend Matthew spake, and thus I made reply. The eye it cannot choose but see, we cannot bid the ear be still, worthy swear where'er be against, or before will. No less I deem that there are powers, which of themselves our minds impress, that we can feed this mind of ours in a wise passiveness. Think you, mid all this mighty sum of things forever speaking, that nothing of itself will come, but we must still be seeking? And ask not wherefore, here alone, conversing as I may, I sit upon this old Gravestone and dream my time away.
Fancy and Tradition by William Wordsworth. The lovers took within this ancient grove their last embrace. Beside those crystal springs the hermit saw the angel spread his wings for instant flight. The sage in yon alcove stayed musing. On that hill the bard who drove, not mute, where now the linnet only sings. Thus everywhere to truth tradition clings, or fancy localized powers we love. Where only history licensed to take note of things gone by, a marriage monument would ill suffice for persons and events. Where is an ampler page for man to quote, a readier book of manifold contents, studied alike in palace and in court.
Farewell to Lines by William Wordsworth. High bliss is only for higher state, but surely your severe affections born with patience merit reward of peace, peace ye deserve, may the solid good, sought by wise thought late exchange, and here with bounteous hand beneath the cottage roof to you accord, never be withdrawn, of the world's best promises renounced. Most soothing was it for welcome friend, fresh from the crowded city, to behold with lonely union, privacy so deep, such calm employments, such entire content. So when the rain is over the storm laid, a pair of herons oft times have I seen upon a rocky islet side by side, drying their fevers in the sun at ease. And so when night with grateful gloom had fallen, to glow-worms in such nearness they shared, as seemed a soft self-satisfying light, each with the other on the dew ground, where he that made them blesses their repose. When wandering among lakes and hills I know once more, those creatures was by nature paired, guarded in their tranquil state of life, even as your happy presence to my mind the union brought, will they repay the debt, and send the thankful spirit back to you, with hope that we, dear friends, shall meet again. Floating Island by William Wordsworth. Harmonious powers of nature work on sky, earth, river, lake, and sea, sunshine and cloud, whirlwind and breeze, all in one duteous task agree. Once did I see a slip of earth, by throbbing waves long undetermined, loosed from its hold, how no one knew, but all might see it float obedient to the wind, might see it from the mossy shore, the surf float upon the lake, float with its crest of trees adorned, on which the warbling birds their pastime take. Food, shelter, safety where they find, the berries ripen, flowers bloom, the insects live their lives and die, and people world it is, and sees a tiny room, and rush through many seasons' space, their little island may survive. But nature, or we mark her not, will take away, may choose to give. Perchance, when you are wandering forth upon some vacant sunny day, without an object, hope or fear, wherever your eyes may turn, the isle is passed away. Buried beneath a glittering lake, its place no longer to be found, yet the lost fragment shall remain, to fertilize some other ground. Foresight by William Wordsworth. With his work of waste and ruin do as Charles and I are doing. Strawberry blossoms one and all, we must spare them, here are many. Look at it, the flower is small, swollen low, for fair as any. Do not touch it, summer's too, I'm older, Anne, than you. Pull the primrose, Sister Anne, pull as many as you can. Here, daisies, take your fill, pansies and the cocoa flower, of a lofted folly. Make your bed, or make your bower, fill your lap and fill your bosom, only spare the strawberry blossom. Primroses, the spring may love them, summer knows but little of them. Violets, the barren kind, withered on the ground must lie. Daisies leave no fruit behind, when the pretty flowers die. Pluck them, and another year, as many will be blowing here. God has given a kindlier power to the favored strawberry flower. However soon as spring is fled, you and Charles and I will walk, lurking berries, ripe and red, and will hang on every stalk, each within his leafy bower, and for that promise bear the flower.
French Revolution by William Wordsworth. Oh, pleasant exercise of hope and joy, for mighty were the auxiliaries which once stood upon our side, we who were strong in love. Bliss was it in that dawn to be alive, but to be young was very heaven. Our times in which the merge steel forbidding ways of custom, law and statute took at once the attraction of a country and romance.
when reason seemed to most assert her rights, and most intent on making of herself a prime enchantress to assist the work which then was going forward in her name. Not favoured spots alone, but the whole earth, the beauty were of promise, but which sets, as at some moment might not be unfelt among the boughs of paradise itself, the budding rose above the rose full blown. What tempered the prospect did not wake to happiness unthought of. The inert roused and lively nature wept away. They who had fed their childhood upon dreams, the playfellows of fancy who had made all powers of swiftness subtitly in strength, the ministers who in lordly wise had styled among the grandest objects of the sense, and dealt with whatsoever they found there, as if they had within some lurking right to wield it. They, too, who, of gentle mood, had watched all gentle motions, and to these had fitted their own thoughts, shammers more mild, and, in the region of their peaceful selves, now was it with both found, were meek and lofty, did both find, helpers to their heart's desire, and stuff at hand, plastic as they could wish. They called upon to exercise their skills, not in utopia, subterranean fields, or some secreted island, heaven knows where, but in the very world, which is the world of one of us, the place where in the end we find our happiness, or not at all.
From the dark chambers of dejection freed, by William Wordsworth. From the dark chambers of dejection freed, spurning the unprofitable job of care. Rise, gillies, rise, the gales of youth shall bear thy genius sword like a winged steed. For bow billows often so drove the creek and raft, fell headlong from the fields of air, yet rich garden waits on minds that dare, if aught be in them of immortal seed. And reason governed as his flight, which heavenward way direct, and dropped not woe, erroneously renewed the sail of woe, in the low dell amid Roslin's faded grove. A cheerful life is what the muses love, a soaring spirit is their prime delight. George and Sarah Green, by William Wordsworth. Who weeps for strangers? When he wept for George and Sarah Green, and for that pair's unhappy fate, whose grave may here be seen. By night upon these stormy fields did wife and husband roam, sick little ones at home had left, and could not find that home. For any dwelling place of man, as vainly did they seek, he perished, and a voice was heard, a widow's lonely shriek. Not many steps, and she was left, a body without life, a few short steps with a chain that bound the husband to the wife. Now do those sternly featured hills look gently on this grave, and quiet now are the depths of air, as a sea without a wave. But deeper lies the heart of peace, and quiet more profound. The heart of quietness is here, within this churchyard bound. Not from all agony of mind that keeps them safe, and far from fear and grief, and from all need of sun or guiding star. O darkness of a grave, how deep after that living night, that last and dreary living one of sorrow and affright? O sacred marriage bed of death, that keeps them side by side in bond of peace and bond of love, that may not be untied. Glad sight whoever knew with old, by William Wordsworth. Glad sight whoever knew with old is joined through some dear home-born tie. The life of all that we behold depends upon that mystery. Vain is the glory of the sky, the beauty vain of field and grove, unless, while the admiring eye we gaze, we also learn to love. Go back to antique ages with thine eyes, by William Wordsworth. Go back to antique ages with thine eyes, a genuine meaning character would trace of a rare spirit that still holds a place, prompting the world's audacious vanities. Go back and see the Tower of Babel rise, the pyramid extends its monstrous base for some aspirant of our short-lived race, anxious on every name to immortalize. Where too a wise politic dispute gave spacious colouring to aim and act, see the first mighty hunter leave the brood to chase mankind with men and armies packed, for his field pastime high and absolute, while to dislodge game cities are sacked. Goody Blake and Harry Gill, by William Wordsworth. Oh, what's the matter, what's the matter? What is't that ails young Harry Gill? Evermore his teeth they chatter, 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 chatter still. Of waistcoats Harry has no leg, good duffel grey and flannel fine, has a blanket on his back, and coats enough to smother nine. In March, December, and in June, it's all the same with Harry Gill. The neighbours tell, and tell you truly, his teeth they chatter, chatter still. At night, at morning, and at noon, 'tis all the same with Harry Gill. Beneath the sun, beneath the moon, his teeth they chatter, chatter still. Young Harry was a lusty drover, who so stout of limb as he. His cheeks were red as a ruddy clover, his voice was like the voice of three. Old Goody Blake was old and poor, ill-fed she was and thinly clad, and any man who passed the door might see how poor a hut she had. All day she spun in her poor dwelling, and then 3 hours' work at night, unless it was hardly worth her telling, it would not pay for candlelight.
So when dwelt in Dorsetshire, out was on the cold hillside, and in that country cold that dear, for they come far by wind and tide. With the same fire to boil the pottage, two poor old dames, as I have known, often lived in one small cottage, but she, poor woman, dwelt alone. 'Twas well enough when summer came, the long warm lightsome summer day, and at the door the handy dame would sit, as any linnet gay. With your eyes so streams that fed her, oh, then how our bones would shake. You would have said, if you had met her, 'twas a hard time for Goody Blake. Her evenings when were dull and dead, sad case it was, as you may think, very cold to go to bed, and then for cold not sleep a wink. Oh joy for her, when in winter, winds at night had made the road, and scattered many a lusty splinter, many rotten boar about. Never had she, well or sick, as every man who knew her says, up here beforehand, wood or stick enough to warm her for 3 days. Now, when the frost was past enduring, and made her poor old bones to ache, could anything be more alluring than an out hedge to Goody Blake? And now and then, it must be said, when her old bones were cold and chill, she left the fire, or left the bed, to seek the hedge of Harry Gill. Now Harry Lie had long suspected this trespass of old Goody Blake, and vowed that she should be detected, and he on her would vengeance take. Off from his warm fire he'd go, and to the fields his road would take, and there at night in frost and snow he watched to seize old Goody Blake. Ere at once, behind a rick of barley, was looking out at Harry's stand. The moon was full and shining clearly, and crisp the frost the stubble lent. He hears the noise, he's all awake again. A tiptoe down the hill he softly creeps. 'Tis Goody Blake, she's at the hedge of Harry Gill. Right glad was he when he beheld her, stick after stick did Goody pull. He stood behind a bush of elder, till she had filled her apron full. When with a load she turned about, the byword back again to take. He started forward with a shout and sprang upon poor Goody Blake. And fiercely by the arm he took her, by the arm he held her fast, and fiercely by the arm he shook her, and cried, "I've got you then at last." Then Goody, with nothing said, a bundle from her lap let fall, and kneeling on the sticks she prayed to God, that is the judge of all. She prayed, her withered hand upbringing, while Harry held her by the arm. God, who art never out of hearing, or may he never more be warm. The cold, cold moon above her head was on her knees did Goody pray. Young Harry heard what she had said, and icy cold he turned away. He went complaining all the more. He was cold and very chill. His face was gloom, his heart was sore. Alas, the day for Harry Gill. The day he wore a riding coat, but not a whit the warmer he, and never was on Thursday broad, or the Sabbath he had free. It was all in vain, a useless matter, and blankets were about him pent. Yet still his jaws and teeth they clatter like a loose casement in the wind. Haze flashed, it fell away, and all to see him say, 'Tis plain that life, as long as life he may, he never will be warm again. No word to any man he utters, abed or up, to young or old, but ever to himself he mutters, "Poor Harry Gill is very cold." Abed or up, by night or day, his teeth they chatter, chatter still. Now think ye farmers all, I pray, of Goody Blake and Harry Gill.
Great men have been among us, by William Wordsworth. Great men have been among us, hands that penned and tongues that uttered wisdom, better none. The later Sidney, Marvel, Harrington, young Vane, and others who called Milton friend. These moralists could act and comprehend, they knew how genuine glory was put on, taught us how rightfully nations shone in splendor, what strength was, where it would not bend, but in magnanimous meekness. France, 'tis strange, hath brought forth no such souls as we had when. The partial emptiness, unceasing change, no single volume paramount, no code, no master spirit, no determined road, but equally a want of books and men.
Grief, thou hast lost an ever-ready friend, by William Wordsworth. Grief, thou hast lost an ever-ready friend, now that the cottage spinning wheel is mute, and care, a comforter, what best could suit a forward mood, and softliest reprehend, and love a charmer's voice would use to lend, more officiously than aught that flows from harbour lute, can influence to compose a throbbing pulse, else troubled without end. Even joy could tell, joy carving truth and rest from my own overflow, what powder sedate and was revolving motions did await assiduously to soothe the aching breast, and to a point of just relief abate the mantling triumphs of a day too blest. Her only pilot the soft breeze, by William Wordsworth. Her only pilot the soft breeze, the boat lingers, but fancy's well satisfied. With keen-eyed hope, with memory at her side, and the glad muse at liberty to note all that to each is precious, as we float gently along, regardless who shall cheat if the heavens smile, and leave us free to glide, happy associates breathing air remote from trivial cares. But fancy and the muse, why have I crowned with small bark with you and others of your kind, ideal crew, while here sits one whose brightness owes its hues to flesh and blood, no goddess from above, nor fleeting spirit, but my own true love.
Highland Hut by William Wordsworth. See what gay wild flowers deck this earth-built cot, whose smoke, forth issuing whence and how it may, shines in the greeting of the sun's first ray, like refts of vapour without stain nor blot. The limpid mountain rill avoids it not, and why shouldst thou, if rightly trained and bred, humanity is humble, finds no spot which her heaven-guided feet refuse to tread. The walls are cracked, sunk in the flowery roof, and rest the pathway leading to the door. But love, as nature loves the lonely poor, search for the worth some gentle heart-wrung proof, meek, patient, kind, and, where its trials fewer, be alike less happy, stand no more aloof.
How beautiful the Queen of Night, by William Wordsworth. How beautiful the Queen of Night, on the highway pursuing among scattered clouds, the ever and anon her head she shrouds, hidden from view in dense obscurity. But look into the watchful eye, a brightening edge will indicate that soon we shall behold the struggling moon break forth again to walk the clear blue sky. I heard, alas 'twas only in a dream, by William Wordsworth. I heard, alas 'twas only in a dream, strains that a sage antiquity believed, by waking ears have sometimes been received, wafted down the wind from the lake or stream. A most melodious requiem, a supreme and perfect harmony of notes, achieved by a fair swan on rosy billows heaved, on which her pinion shed a silver gleam. For is she not the daughter of Apollo, and knows she not, singing as he inspires, the bliss awaits her which the ungenial hollow of the dull earth partakes not, nor desires? Moan, tuneful bird, and join the immortal choirs. She soared, and I awoke, struggling in vain to follow.
I travelled among unknown men, by William Wordsworth. I travelled among unknown men, in lands beyond the sea, nor England did I know to win what love I bore to thee. 'Tis past that melancholy dream, nor will I quit thy shore a second time, for still I seem to love thee more and more. Among thy mountains did I fear the joy of my desire, and she I cherished turned her wheel beside an English fire. Thy morning showed, thy nights concealed, the bowers where Lucy played, and thine too is the last green field that Lucy's eyes surveyed. I wandered lonely as a cloud, by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud, that floats on high over vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, were stretched in never-ending line along the margin of the bay. 10,000 saw I at glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but way outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what a wealth of a show to me had brought. For oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude, and when my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils.
I watch, and long have watched with calm regret, by William Wordsworth. I watch, and long have watched with calm regret, yon slowly sinking star, immortal sire, some mighty seem of all the glittering choir. Blue ever still surrounds him, yet and yet, but now the horizon's rocky parapet is reached, where fortifying his bright attire, he burns, transmuted to a dusky fire, and pays submissively the appointed depth to the flying moments, and is seen no more. Angels and gods, we struggle with our fate, while health, power, glory, from the height declined, depressed, then extinguished. Our estate is this, how different, lost star from wine, but no, to more shall our beams restore. If this great world of joy and pain, by William Wordsworth, if this great world of joy and pain revolve on one sure track, and freedom's set will rise again, and virtue flown come back, woe to the purblind crew who fill the heart of each day's care, nor gain from past to future a skill to be and to forbear. Illustrated books and newspapers, by William Wordsworth. Discourse was deemed man's noblest attribute, and written words the glory of his hand. When followed printing with a large command, for thought, dominion vast and absolute, for spreading truth and making a love expand. Now prose and verse sung into disrepute must lacquer damp art that best can suit the taste of his once intellectual land. A backward movement surely have a year from manhood back to childhood, for the age back towards cavern life's first rude career, avaunt with vile abuse of pictured page. Must eyes be all in all, that hand and ear nothing, heaven keep us from the lower stage. In my mind's eye a temple, by William Wordsworth. in my mind's eye a temple like a cloud, slowly surmounting some invidious hill, rose out of darkness, where brighter work stood still, and might of its own beauty have been proud, while it was fashioned and the god was bowed, by virtues that diffused in every part, spirit divine through forms of human art. Fate had her arc, when the winds blow loud, into a consciousness of safety thrilled, and love her towers of dread foundation laid under the grave of things. Hope heard her spire star high, and pointing still to something higher, trembling I gazed, but heard a voice that said, Hell gates are powerless phantoms when we build. In these fair vales hath many a tree, by William Wordsworth, and these fair vales hath many a tree at Wordsworth's suit been spared, and from the builder's hand the stone, for some ruddy beauty of its own, was rescued by the bard. So let it rest, and time will come when ye the tender-hearted may have a gentle sight for him as one of the departed. Incident characteristic of the favourite dog, by William Wordsworth. On his morning rounds the master goes to learn how all things fare, searches pasture after pasture, sheep and cattle lies with care, and for silence or for talk he hath comrades in his walk. 4 dogs, each pair of different breed, distinguished 2 for scent and 2 for speed. See a hart before him started, off they fly in earnest chase. Every dog is eager-hearted, all the 4 are in the race. And the home they pursue knows from instinct what to do. Her hope is near, no turn she makes, but like an arrow to the river takes. Deeply the river was, encrusted thinly by one night's frost. The nimble hart hath trusted to the ice, and safely crossed. She hath crossed, and without heed, all are following at full speed. And lo, the ice so thinly spared, breaks, and the greyhound darts overhead. Let her fate have prince and swallow, see them cleaving to the spot. Music has no heart to follow, in music she stops short. She hath neither wish nor heart, hers is no another part. A loving creature she, and brave, and fondly strives her struggling friend to save. From the brink her paws she stretches, very hands as you would say, and afflicting moans she fetches, as he breaks the ice away. For herself she hath no fears, him alone she sees and hears, makes efforts with complainings, now gives o'er, as the fellow sings, to reappear no more. Inscription, by William Wordsworth. Thou in the dear love of some one friend hast been so happy that thou know'st what thought will sometimes in the happiest of love make thy heart sink, and build for reverence this quiet spot. Saint Herbert hither came, and here, for many seasons from the world removed, the affections of the world he dwelt in solitude. He living here, this island's sole inhabitant, had left a fellow labourer, whom the good man loved, and his own soul, and within his cave alone he knelt before the crucifix, while o'er the lake the cataract of Lotto peered through his orisons. Then he pecked along the beach of this small isle, and thought of his companion. He had prayed that both might die in the same moment. Nor in vain so prayed he, as our chronicles report, for here the hermit numbered his last days. Far from St. Cuthbert, his beloved friend, whose holy man both died in the same hour. Inside the King's College Chapel, Cambridge, by William Wordsworth. Text not the royal saint with vain expense, with ill-matched aims the architect to plan, the albeit labyrinth for a scanty band of white-robed scholars only, with immense and glorious work of fine intelligence. Give all thou canst, high heaven rejects the law of nicely calculated less or more. So deemed the man who fashioned for the sense these lofty pillars, spread the branching roof self-poisoned, and scooped into 10,000 steads, with light and shade repose, the music drills lingering and wandering on the loaf to die. Like thoughts whose very sweetness yieldeth proof that away were born for immortality. Invocation to the Earth, by William Wordsworth. Rest, rest, poverty and earth, rest, for doleful mother of mankind. A spirit sang in tongues more plaintive than the wind. From regions where no evil thing has birth, I come by stains to wash away, by cherished fetters to unbind, and open thy sad eyes upon a milder day. The heavens are thronged with mephras that have risen from out of my noisome prison. The panelled caverns groan, with tens of thousands rent from off the tree of hope for life, a battle's whirlwind blown into the deserts of eternity. Unbetide havoc, victims unlamented, but not on high where madness is resented, and murder causes some sad tears to flow. While from the widely sweeping blow the choirs of angels spread, triumphantly augmented. False parent of mankind, obdurate, proud and blind, I sprinkle thee with soft celestial dews, thy lost maternal heart to re-infuse, scattering this far-fetched moisture from my wings upon the act of blessing I implore, of which where rivers in the secret springs, the river stains so oft of human gore, are conscious, may the like return no more. May discord for Zephyrs' care should be attended with a bolder prayer, may she, who once disturbed the seats of bliss with mortals fierce above, be chained forever to the black abyss, and roll o'er rescued earth by peace and love and merciful desires by sanctity approve. The spirit ended as mysterious right, and the pure vision closed in darkness infinite. Is there a power that can sustain and cheer? By William Wordsworth. Is there a power that can sustain and cheer the captive chieftain by tyrant's doom, forced to descend into his distant tomb, a dungeon dark, where you must waste the year, and like Hutter from all his heart holds dear, or time his injured country is a stage, whereon deliberate valor and rage of right whose vengeance side by side appear, standing from morn to night, the heroic scenes with deeds of hope and everlasting praise. So can he think of this with mind serene and silent fetters? Yes, a vision's bright shine on, so reflected from the days when he himself was tried in open light.
It is a beauteous evening by William Wordsworth. It is a beauteous evening, calm and free. The holy time is quiet as a nun, breathless with adoration. The broad sun is sinking down in its tranquillity. The gentleness of heaven broods over the sea. Listen, the mighty being is awake, and doth with his eternal motion make a sound like thunder everlastingly. Dear child, dear girl, that walk'st with me here, thou appear untouched by solemn thought, thy nature is not wherefore less divine. Thou liest in Abraham's bosom all the year, and worshipst at the temple's inner shrine, God being with thee when we know it not.
It is no spirit who from heaven hath flown, by William Wordsworth. It is no spirit who from heaven hath flown, and is descending on his embassy, no traveller gone from earth the heavens to espy. 'Tis Hesper's, where he stands with glittering crown, first admonition with the sun is down. For yet it is broad daylight, clouds pass by, a few are near him still, and now the sky hath it to himself, 'tis all his own. Our most ambitious star, an inquest draw, within me when I recognized thy light, a moment I was startled at the sight. And while I gazed there came to me a thought, that I might step beyond my natural race, as thou seemst not to do, might one day trace some ground not mine, and stronger strength of both my soul and apparition in the place, tread web of steps that no one should reprove. It is not to be thought of, by William Wordsworth. It is not to be thought of that the flood of British freedom, which to the open sea of the world's praise from dark antiquity hath flowed, with pomp of water unwithstood, rose woe it be full often to a mood which spurns the cheek of Satyr bands, or his most famous dream and watch and sands should perish, or evil and do good be lost forever, and horses hang armory of the invincible knights of old. We must be free or die who speak the tongue that Shakespeare spake, the fated morals hold which Milton held, and everything we are sprung of earth's first blood have titles many-fold. June 1820, by William Wordsworth. Fame tells of crows from England far away, rose that inspire the nightingale to trill and modulate the subtle reach of skill elsewhere unmatched her every varying lay. Such bold report I venture to gainsay, for I've heard the choir of Richmond Hill chanting with indefatigable bill strains that recall to mind a distant day, and hardly under shade of that same wood, and scarcely conscious of the dashing oars, plied steadily between those willowy shores, the sweet-souled poet of a season stood listening, and listening long in rapturous mood, ye heavenly birds, to your progenitors. Lines left upon a seat, by William Wordsworth. Nigh traveller rest at his lonely duty strands, far from all human dwelling. What if here no sparkling rivulet spread the verdant herb? What if these barren bores there be not laughs? Yet as the wind breathes soft, the curling waves, that break against the shore, shall lull the mind, by one soft impulse safe from vacancy. Who he was that peeled these stones, and with the mossy sod first covered hour, and taught this aged tree, no wild, to bend its arms in circling shade, I well remember. He was the one who owned no common soul, in youth by genius nursed, and big with lofty views, he to the world went forth, pure in his heart against the taint of dissolute Huns, against jealousy and hate, and scorn, against all enemies prepared, all but neglected. And so his spirit damned at once, with rash disdain he turned away, the foot of pride sustained his soul in solitude. Stranger, these gloomy bores had charms for him, and hereafter sit his only visitants as straggling sheep, with stone shed of a glancing sandpiper, and on these barren rocks with juniper and heath and thistle, thinly sprinkling o'er, fixing his downward eye, many an hour a more pleasure nourished, tracing here an emblem of his own unfruitful life. And lifting up his head, he then would gaze on the more distant scene, for lovely 'tis was ceased, and he would gaze till it became more lovelier, Sight could not sustain the beauty still more beauteous. Nor the time would he forget those beings, to whose minds, warm from the labours of benevolence, the world and man himself appeared a scene of kindred loveliness. When he would sigh with mournful joy, to think that others felt what he must never feel, and so lost man. On visionary views would fancy feed, till his eyes streamed with tears, and the steep vale lie dead, the seat his only monument. If there be one who said the holy forms of young imagination have kept pure stranger, henceforth be warned and know that pride, are disguised in its own majesty as littleness, that he who feels contempt for any living thing have faculties which he has never used, that fourth of him is in his infancy. The man whose eye is ever on himself doth look on one, the least of nature's works, one who might move the wise man to that scorn which wisdom holds unlawful ever. Oh, be wiser though, instructed that true knowledge leads to love, true dignity abides with him alone, who, in the silent hour of inward thought, can still suspect and still reveal himself in lowliness of heart.
Lines on the Expected Invasion, 1803, by William Wordsworth. Come ye who, if which heaven averred, the land where with herself at strife would take your stand, like gallant Falkland by the monarch's side, and like Montrose make loyalty your pride. Come ye who, not less zealous, might display banners at enmity with regal sway, like the Pims and Miltons of the day, think that a state would live in sounder health, and kingship bowed its head to commonwealth, yet to whom no discreditable fear would keep, perhaps of many a fruitless tear, uncertain what to choose and how to steer, and you might mistake for sober sense, and wise reserve a plea of indolence. Can you whatever your creed or wicked all, like your temper at your country's call, resolving, lest the freeborn nation can, to have one soul and perish to a man, or save his honoured land from every lord, but British reason and the British sword.
Lines written at a small distance from my house by William Wordsworth. It is the first mild day of March, each minute sweeter than before. The red breast sings from the tall lark that stands beside our door. There's a blessing in the air which seems a sense of joy to yield, though there are trees and mountains bare, and grass in the green field. My sister, 'tis a wish of mine, now that our morning meal is done, make haste, your morning task resign, come forth and feel the sun. Edward will come with you, and pray, put on with speed your woodland dress, and bring your book, for this one day we'll give to idleness. No joyless form shall regulate our living calendar. We from today, my friend, will date the opening of the year. Love, now in universal birth, from heart to heart is stealing, from earth to man, from man to earth, 'tis the hour of feeling. One moment now might give us more than 50 years of reason, or mine shall drink at every pore the spirit of the season. Some silent laws our hearts may make, which we shall long obey, we for the year to come may take our temper from today. For blessed power which roads above, below both, will frame the measure of our souls, they should be tuned to love. Then come, my sister, come, I pray, with speed put on your woodland dress, and bring a book, for this one day we'll give to idleness.
Lines written in early spring by William Wordsworth. I heard 1,000 blended notes, while in the groove I sat reclined, and with sweet mood, when pleasant thoughts bring sad thoughts to the mind. To her fair works did nature link the human soul that through me ran, and much is grieved my heart to think what man has made of man. Through primrose tufts in that green bower the periwinkle trails its wreaths, and 'tis my fate that every flower enjoys the air it breathes. The birds around me hopped and played, their thoughts I cannot measure, but the least motion which they made, it seemed a thrill of pleasure. The budding twigs spread out the fan to catch the breezy air, and I must think, do all I can that there was pleasure where. If this belief from heaven be sent, if such a nature's holy plan, have I not reason to lament what man has made of man?
Lines written near Richmond upon the Thames by William Wordsworth. How rich the wave in front, impressed with evening twilight summer hues, while facing thus the crimson west the boat a silent path pursues. And see how dark the backward stream, a little moment past so smiling, and still perhaps the faithless Cleano some other loiterer beguiling. Such views the youthful bard allure, but, heedless of the following gloom, it deems their colours shall endure to peace with him to the tomb. And let him nurse his fond deceit, and what if he must die in sorrow? Who would not cherish dreams so sweet, for grief and pain may come tomorrow? Glide gently, thus forever glide, O Thames, that our bards may see as lovely visions by the sea as now, fair river, come to me. O glide, fair stream, forever so, the quiet soul in all bestowing, till our minds forever flow, so deep waters now are flowing. Vain thought, yet to be as now thou art, but in the waters may be seen the image of a poet's heart. How bright, how solemn, how serene! Such heart did once the poet bless, who, pouring here her letter ditty, could find no refuge from distress, but in the milder grief of pity. Remembrance as we glide along, for him suspended the dashing oar, or to pray that never child of song may know his freezing sorrows more. How calm, how still, the only sound, dripping of the oar suspended. The evening darkness gathers round, the virtue's holiest powers attended. Lines written on a tablet in a school by William Wordsworth. Of nature, for favourite child, and we have tempered so a clay, every hour the heart runs wild, yet never once thou go astray. Read all these lines, then review this tablet, and thus humbly rears in such diversity of hue its history of 200 years. And through this little wreck of fame, cipher and syllable than eye has travelled down to Matthew's name, pours with no common sympathy. And if a sleeping tear should wake, then be it neither cheeked nor staked, for Matthew the request I make, for which for himself he had not made. Poor Matthew all his frolics o'er, as silent as a standing pool, far from the chimney's merry roar, or murmur of a village school. The sighs which Matthew hath the sighs of one tired out of fun and madness. The tears which came to Matthew's eyes were tears of light, all of gladness. Yet sometimes when the secret cup of still and serious thought went round, it seemed as if he drank it up, he felt a spirit so profound. The soul of God's best earthly mould, where be soul and cannot be, and these 2 words of glittering gold are all that must remain of thee. Lines written while sailing in a boat at evening by William Wordsworth. A rich glows the water's breast before us, tinged with evening hues, while facing thus the crimson west the boat a silent course pursues. And see how dark the backward stream, a little moment past so smiling, and still perhaps the fadeless gleam some other loiterer's beguiling. Such views the youthful bard allure, while heedless of the following gloom, he deems the colour shall endure till peace giveth him to the tomb. And let him nurse his fond deceit, and what if he must die in sorrow? Who would not cherish dreams so sweet, where grief and pain may come tomorrow? Lines written with a slate pencil upon a stone by William Wordsworth. Stranger, this hillock of misshapen stones is not a ruin of the ancient time, nor, as perchance thou rashly deem'st, the cairn of some old British chief, as nothing more than the rude embryo of a little town or pleasure house, which was to have been built among the birch trees of a rocky isle. But, as it chanced, Sir William, having learned that from the shore a full-grown man might wait and make himself a freeman of the spot any hour he chose, the night forthwith desisted, and the quarry and the mound monuments of his unfinished task. Block on which these lines are traced perhaps was once selected as the cornerstone of the intended pile, which would have been some quaint odd plaything of elaborate skill, so that I guess Linnet and the Thrush, other little builders who dwell here, had wondered at the work. But blame him not, for old Sir William was a gentle knight, bred in this vale to which he appeareth with all his ancestry. Then peace to him, and for the outrage which he had devised entire forgiveness. If thou art one on fire with thy impatience to become an inmate in these mountains, if disturb the beautiful conceptions that hast hewn out of the quiet rock the elements of a trim mansion destined soon to blaze in snow-white splendour, think again, and fought by old Sir William at his quarry, leave the fragments to the bramble and the rose, where let the vernal slow-warm sun himself and the redbreast hop from stone to stone. London, 1802, by William Wordsworth. Milton, thou shouldst be living at this hour. England have need of thee. She's a fen of stagnant waters, ere the sword and pen fireside, the heroic wealth of hall and bower, have fortified the ancient English dower of inward happiness. Ye selfish man, raise us up, return to us again, and give us men as virtue, freedom, power. Thy sound was like a star and well apart, whilst the voice whose sound was like the sea, pure as the naked heavens, majestic, free, that is what travel on life's common way, and cheerful godliness, and yet the heart, the lowliest duties and a self that lay. Look now on that adventurer who hath paid, by William Wordsworth. Look now on that adventurer who hath paid his boast of fortune, on cruel slide of virtuous hope, of liberty and right, hath followed wheresoever a way was made, with the blind goddess, ruthless and dismayed, and so hath gained a length, a prosperous height, round which the elements of worldly might, beneath his haughty feet like clouds are laid. Or joyless power that stands by lawless force, curses are his dire portion, scorn and hate, eternal darkness and unquiet breath. If all judgments keep their sacred course, him from that height shall heaven precipitate by violent and ignominious death. Love lies bleeding, by William Wordsworth. You call it love lies bleeding, so you may ford the red flower, not prostrate only drops, as we have seen it here from day to day, from month to month, life passes not away. A flower rich in sadness, even thus stops, sentient by Grecian sculptor's marvelous power, thus leans with hanging brow and body bent, earthward in uncomplaining languishment, the dying gladiator. So sad flower, his fancy guides me willing to be led, though by a slender thread. So drooping Adonis bathed in sanguine dew of his death-front, when he from innocent air the gentle breath of resignation drew, while Venus in a passion of despair ran, weeping over him her golden hair, sprinkled with drops of a celestial shower. She suffered as the mortals sometimes do, but pangs more lasting far, that lover knew who first, weighted down by scorn, in some lone bower that pressed the semblance of unbetied smart into the service of his constant heart, his own dejection downcast flow, could share the wine, and gave a mournful name which will ever be. Lucy Gray by William Wordsworth. Oft had I heard of Lucy Gray, and when I crossed the wild, I chanced to see at break of day the solitary child. Nor maid nor comet Lucy knew, she dwelt on a wide moor, the sweetest thing that ever grew beside a human door. You yet may spy the fawn at play, the hair upon the green, and the sweet face of Lucy Gray will never more be seen. Tonight will be a stormy night, you to the town must go, and take a lantern, child, to light your mother through the snow. That father will I gladly do, 'tis scarcely afternoon, the minster clock has just struck 2, and yonder is the moon. With the father raised his hook and stepped the faggot band, he plied his work, and Lucy took the lantern in his hand. Not Bliver is the mountain rue, with many a mountain stroke, her feet dispersed the powdery snow that rises up like smoke. Storm came on, before its time she wandered up and down, many a hill did Lucy climb, but never reached the town. Aged parents all that night went shouting far and wide, but there was never sound nor sight to serve them for a guide. At break-day on a hill they stood, overlooked the moor, and whence they saw the bridge of wood a furlong from their door. Now they homeward turned and cried, Heaven we all shall meet, and with now the mother spied the print of Lucy's feet. Downward from the steep hill's edge they tracked a footmark small, and through the broken hawthorn hedge and by the long stone wall. And then an open field they crossed, the marks were still the same. They tracked them on, nor even lost, into the bridge they came. They followed from the snowy bank the footmarks one by one, until the middle of a plank, and further there were none. Yet some maintain that to this day she is a living child. You may see sweet Lucy Gray upon the lonesome wild. A rough and smooth she trips along, never looks behind, and sings a solitary song that whistles in the wind.
Matthew by William Wordsworth. With nature for favourite child, and we have tempered so clay, at every hour the heart runs wild, yet never once doth go astray. Read over these lines, and when review is telled, but was humble rears in such diversity of hue its history of 200 years. When through this little wreck of fame, cipher and syllable, mine eye has travelled down to Matthew's name, pause with no common sympathy. And if a sleeping tear should wake, and be it neither checked nor stayed, for Matthew a request I make, which for himself he had not made. Poor Matthew all his frolics o'er, as silent as a standing pool, far from the chimney's merry roar and murmur of a village school. The sighs which Matthew heaved were sighs of one tired out with fun and madness. The tears which came to Matthew's eyes were tears of light, with dew of gladness. Yet sometimes when the secret cup of still and serious thought went round, it seemed as if he drank it up, he felt a spirit so profound. For son of God's best earthly mode, for happy soul, and can it be that these 2 words of glittering gold are all that must remain if we?
Memory by William Wordsworth. A pen to register, a key that wins for secret wards are well assigned to memory by allegoric bards. As apply also might be given a pencil to a hand that, softening objects, sometimes even outstrips the heart's demand. With smooth foregone distress, the lines of lingering care subdues, long-finished happiness refines, and clothes in brighter hues. Yet, like a tool of fancy, works for spectres to delight, that startle conscience as she lurks within her lonely seat. Or whether our lives, which flee so fast in purity, were such that not an image of a past should fear that pencil's touch. Retirement then might wholly look upon a soothing scene, age steal to his old-looked nook, contented and serene. With hearts as calm as lakes that sleep in frosty moonlight glistening, or mountain rivers where they creep along a channel smooth and deep, to their own far-off murmurs listening.
Methought I saw the footsteps of a fawn by William Wordsworth. Methought I saw the footsteps of a fawn, which mists and vapours from mine eyes did shroud,
no view of who might sit whereon alone. All the steps and ground about were strewn with sighs where refused flesh and bone ever put on, and miserable crowd, sick hail, old young, who cried before it cloud, Thou art our king, our death, to weary groan, our steps I clomb. The mist before me gave smooth way, and beheld the face of one sleeping alone within a mossy cave, with a face up to heaven, that seemed to have pleasant remembrance of a fawn forgone, a lovely beauty in a summer grave.
Most sweet it is, by William Wordsworth. Most sweet it is, with unuplifted eyes, to pace the ground, if path be rare or none, while a fair region round the traveller lies, which he forbears again to look upon. Plashed rather with some soft idle scene, the work of fancy, or some happy tone of meditation, sleeping in between the beauty coming and the beauty gone. If thought and love desert us, from that day let us break off all commerce with the muse. The thought and love companion of our way, whatever the senses take or may refuse, the mind's eternal heaven shall shattered use of inspiration on the humblest lay.
Most sweet it is with unuplifted eyes, by William Wordsworth. Most sweet it is with unuplifted eyes to pace the ground, if path be rare or none, while a far region round the traveller lies, which he forbears again to look upon. Plashed rather with some soft ideal scene, the work of fancy or some happy tone of meditation, slipping in between the beauty coming and the beauty gone. The thought and love desert us, from that day let us break off all commerce with the muse. The thought and love companions of our way, whatever the senses take or may refuse, the mind's internal heaven shall shattered use of inspiration on the humblest lay. My heart leaps up when I behold, by William Wordsworth. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began, so is it now I am a man. So be it when I should grow old, or let me die. Child is father of a man, I could wish my days to be bound each to each by natural tie. Near Dover, by William Wordsworth. Inland, within a hollow vale I stood, and saw while sea was calm and air was clear, the coast of France how near. Drawn almost into frightful neighborhood, I shrunk, for real the very flood was like a lake or a river bright and fair, a span of waters, yet with power I swear, what might us for evil and for good. Even so doth God protect us, if we be virtuous and wise. Winds blow and waters roll, strength to the brave and power and deity. Yet in themselves are nothing. One decree spakes laws to them, and saith but by the soul, only the nation shall be great and free. November 1806, by William Wordsworth. Another year, another deadly blow, another mighty empire overthrown, and we are left, or shall be left alone. Alas, the dare to struggle with a foe. 'Tis well, from this day forward we shall know what in ourselves our safety must be sought, that by our own right hands it must be wrought, and we must stand unpropped or be laid low, whom such foretaste doth not cheer. We shall exult, if we who rule the land be men who hold its many blessings dear, wise, upright, valiant, and as a real band who are to judge of danger which we fear. November 1813, by William Wordsworth. Now that all hearts are glad, all faces bright, our aged sovereign sits, to the ebb and flow of states and kingdoms, to their joy or woe insensible. He sits deprived of sight, and limitable wrapped in twofold night, whom no weak hopes deceived, whose mind ensued through perilous war with regal fortitude, peace which would claim respect from lawless might. Great King of kings will chafe a ray divine to his forlorn condition, and her grace upon his inner soul and mercy shine. Permit his heart to kindle and to embrace, though it were only for a moment's space, the triumphs of his hour for way or wine. Our wide earth on mountain and on plain, by William Wordsworth. Our wide earth on mountain and on plain dwells in the affections and the soul of man a god heat, like the universal part, but more exalted with a brighter train, and shall his bounty be dispensed in vain, shout equally on city and on field, and neither hope nor steadfast promise yield in these uspring times of fear and pain. Such doom awaits us, nigh forbidden heaven. We know there are to strive the eternal laws, to which the triumph of all good is given, high sacrifice and labour which pause, even to the death. Else wherefore should the eyes of man converse with immortality? O Nightingale, thou surely art, by William Wordsworth. O Nightingale, thou surely art a creature of a fiery heart, whose notes of wine by pierce and pierce tumultuous harmony and fierce. Thou singest as if a god of wine had hailed thee to a valentine, a song in mockery and despite of shades and youths and silent night, a steady bliss and all the loves now sleeping in these peaceful groves. I heard a stockdove sing or say his homely tale this very day. His voice was buried among cheers, yet to be calmed by the breeze. He did not cheese, but cooed, and somewhat pensively he wooed. He sang of love at quiet blending, slow to begin and never ending. How tears fade and inward glee, that was a song for me. On a celebrated event in ancient history, by William Wordsworth, a Roman master stand on Grecian ground, and to the people at the Ishman games assembled, he by a herald's voice proclaims the liberty of Greece. The words rebound until all voices in one voice had droned, glad acclamation by which air was rent, and birds high flying in the element dropped to the earth, astonished at the sound. Yet were the thoughtful grieved, and still with voice haunts, with sad echoes musing fancy's ear. Oh, that the conqueror's word should be so dear, and that a boon could shed such rapturous joys, a gift of wit which is not to be given by all the blended powers of earth and heaven. On the banks of a rocky stream, by William Wordsworth, behold an emblem of our human mind, crowded with thoughts that need to settle home, and like the eddying boards of foam within the whirlpool, where each other chase round and neither find an outlet nor resting place. Stranger, if such disquietude be thine, fall on thy knees and sue for help divine.
On the same occasion, by William Wordsworth, your storms resound the praises of your king, and your mild season in a sunny clime. Midway on some high hill, while Father Time looks on delighted, mead and festal ring, and loud and long of winter's triumph sing. Sing ye with blossoms crowned and fruits and flowers, of winter's breath surcharged with sleety showers, and the dire flapping of his hoary ring. Knit the blithe dance upon the soft green grass, with feet, hands, eyes, looks, lips report your gain. Whisper it to the billow of the main, and to the aerial zephyrs as they pass, that O decrypted winter, he half slain, with host which rendered all your bounties vain.
On the same subject, by William Wordsworth, or beheld at first with blank surprise this work, and now have gazed on it so long, I see its truth with unreluctant eyes. O my beloved, I have done thee wrong, conscious and blessedness, but whence it sprung, ever too heedless, as I not perceive. Morn into noon did pass, noon into eve. The old days was welcome as the young, as welcome and as beautiful, and sooth more beautiful, as being a thing more holy, thanks to thy virtues, to the eternal youth of all thy goodness, never melancholy. To thy large heart and humble mind that casts into one vision, future, present, past. Our walk was far among the ancient trees, by William Wordsworth. Our walk was far among the ancient trees, there was no road, nor any woodman's path, but the thick umbrage, checking the wild growth of weed and sapling on the soft green turf, beneath the branches of itself that made the track which brought us to slip of lawn, the small bed of water in the woods. All around this pool both flocks and herds might drink on its firm margin, even as from a well or some stone basin which the herdsman's hand had shaped for their refreshment, and not its sun or wind from any quarter ever come, and as a blessing to this calm recess, this glade of water and this one green field. The spot was made by nature for itself. The travellers know it not, and will remain unknown to them. But it is beautiful, and if a man should plant his cottage near, should sleep beneath the shelter of its trees, and blend its waters with his daily meal, he would so love it that in his death hour its image would survive among his thoughts, and wherefore, my sweet Mary, we still look, with all its beeches, flame for you. Petition for an Absolute Retreat, by Anne Finch. Give me, O indulgent fate, give me yet before I die, a sweet but absolute retreat, mongst paths so lost and trees so high, that the world may ne'er invade, with such windings and such shade, my unshaken liberty. No intruders thither come, who visit but to be from home, none who the vain moments pass, only studiers of their glass news, that charm to listening ears, that false alarm to hopes and fears. But common theme for every fop, from the statesman to the shop, in those coverts ne'er be spread, of whose decrees the whose to wed, be no tidings high or broad, but silent as the midnight thought, the world may ne'er invade, be those windings and that shade. Cautious fate, without me there, table spread without my care, without the neighbouring fields impart, whose cleanliness be all their art. Cautious fate, and give me there only pain and wholesome fare. Fruits indeed would heaven bestow, all that did in Eden grow, all but the forbidden tree would be coveted by me. Graves with juice are crowded up as breaking through the native cup, fixed yet growing candid hour by the sun's attracting power. Cherries with the downy peach, all within my easy reach, but creeping near the humble ground should the strawberry be found, springing wheresoever I strayed through those windings and the shade. Give me bear, since heaven has shown it was not good to be alone, a partner suited to my mind, solitary, pleased, and kind. Partially may something see, prefer to all the world and me, lying by my humble side, fame and splendor, wealth and pride. And but to the earth possessed, 'twas the happiest days and best, with by business, nor by wars, with but no domestic cares, from each other drawn, but in some grove or flowery lawn, spent the swiftly flying time, spent their own in nature's prime and love, that only passion given, the perfect man, whilst friends with heaven, rage and jealousies and hate, sport of his fallen state. To perfect man, whilst friends with heaven. Rage and jealousies and hate, transports of his fallen state, when by Satan's wiles betrayed, fly those windings and that shade. Picture of Daniel in the lion's den at Hamilton Palace, by William Wordsworth. Amid the fertile region green with wood and fresh with rivers, well thou would become the ducal owner in his palace home, to naturalize this tawny lion brood. Children of art claim strong brotherhood, couched in their den, the foes that roam at large of the burning wilderness and charge the wind with terror while they roar for food. But Reese satiate in the stillness dear calls into life a more enduring fear, and as the prophet calm, nor would the cave daunt him, if his companions, now betrothed, yawning and listless, were by hunger roast. Men placed them here, and God he knows can save.
Poor Robin, by William Wordsworth. Now when the primrose makes a splendid show, and lilies face the March winds in full blow, and hemlock roofs is moved with one desire, put on to welcome spring the best attire. But Robin is yet flowerless, but how gay with his red stalks upon the sunny day. And as his tufts of leaves he spreads, content with a hard bed and scanty nourishment. Mixed with the green, some shine not lacking power to rival summer's brightest scarlet flower. And flowers they well might seem to passers-by if looked at only with a careless eye. Flowers or a richer produce, did it suit the season, sprinkles of ripe strawberry fruit, but while 1,000 pleasures come unsought, where fix upon his wealth or want afford. Is a string touched and prelude to a lay of pretty fancies that would round him play, and all the world acknowledgment leaves sway? Or does it suit our humour to command poor Robin as a sure and crafty friend, whose practised teachers, spite of names to show, bright colours, whether they deceive or no? Nay, we would simply praise the free good will with which, through slighted, he, on naked hill, on warm valley, seeks his part to fill, cheerful alike if bare of flowers is now, or when his tiny gems shall deck his brow. Yet more we wish that man by man despise, and such as live where foreheads are prized, should sometimes think, where are they chains to spy, this child of nature's own humility? What recompense is kept in store or left for all that seem neglected or bereft? With what nice care equivalents are given, how just, how bountiful the hand of heaven.
Poor Susan, by William Wordsworth. At the corner of Wood Street, when daylight appears, there's a thrush that sings loud. It is sung for 3 years. Poor Susan has passed by the spot and has heard in the silence of morning the song of a bird. 'Tis a note of enchantment. What ails her? She sees the mountain ascending, a vision of trees. Bright volumes of vapour through Lothbury glide, and the river flows on through the vale of Cheapside. Green pastures she views in the midst of a dale, down which she so often has tripped with a pail, and a single small cottage, a nest like a dove's, the only one dwelling on earth that she loves. She looks, and her heart is in heaven, but they fade, the mist and the river, the hill and the shade. The stream will not flow, and the hill will not rise, the colours have all passed away from her eyes. Poor outcast, return to receive thee once more, the house of her father will open its door. And thou once again in the plain russet gown, mayst hear the thrushes sing from a tree of its own. Proud were your mountains when in times of old, by William Wordsworth. Proud were your mountains when in times of old your patriot sons to steam and waste of war entrenched your brows, you gloried in each scar. Now for your shame and power, the thirst of gold, when rules our Britain like a baneful star, wheels that your peace, your beauty should be sold, and clear way made for a triumphal car, for the beloved retreats your arms enfold. Heard ye that whistle, as the long linked train swept onwards? Did the vision cross your view? Yes, he was startled, and a well is true, waited the mischief of the promised gain, mountains and vales and floods, are calling you to share the passion of a justice day. Pure element of waters, by William Wordsworth. Pure element of waters, wheresoever waters forsake the subterranean haunts, green herbs, bright flowers, and berry-burning plants rise into life when they by train appear. And through the sunny portion of the year swift insects shine, the hovering persuadance, and if a bounty fail the forced pants, and hard and hint and hunter with a spear languish and drop together, no one failed a man's perturbed self, his way in, and hardly far within the marble belt of central earth, where tortured spirits pine for grace and goodness lost, where murmurs melt their anguish, and they blend sweet songs with wine.
Retirement by William Wordsworth. If a whole weight of what we think and feel, save only thought, is thought and feeling blend with action, there's nothing, patriot friend. From thy remonstrance would be no appeal, but to promote and fortify the weal of our own being is a paramount end, a truth which we only shall comprehend, who shun the mischief which we cannot heal. Peace in these fairish times is sovereign bliss, here with no feast but what the stream can slake, and startled only by the rustling brake. Cool air I breathe, while the unencumbered mind by some weak aims its service is assigned, to gentle natures thanks not heaven amiss.
Rural Architecture by William Wordsworth. There's George Fisher, Charles Fleming, and Reginald Shaw, three rosy-cheeked schoolboys, the highest not more than the height of a counsellor's back. To the top of great Howard did it please them to climb, and there they built up Fort Mortar or Lime, man of the peak of a crag. They built him of stones, gathered up as they lay, they built him and christened him all in one day. An urchin both vigorous and hale, and so without scruple they called him Ralph Jones. Now Ralph is renowned for the length of his bones, the maggot of Legbarth Waite Dale. Just half a week after wind sailed forth, and an anger or merriment out of the north, coming on with a terrible power, for the peak of a crag blew the giant away. And what did we schoolboys? The very next day they went and they built up another. Some little I've seen of blind boisterous works in Paris and London among Christians or Turks, spirits busy to do and undo. At remembrance whereof my blood sometimes will flag when light-hearted boys to the top of a crag they build up a giant view.
Say what is honour by William Wordsworth. Say what is honour. 'Tis the finest sense of justice which a human mind can frame, intent each lurking frailty to disclaim, and guard the way of life from all offence suffered or done. When lawless violence invades a realm, suppressed within the scale of perilous war, where weightiest armies fail, honour is hopeful elevation, whence glory and triumph. Yet of politic skill, endangered states may yield to terms unjust, stoop their proud heads, but not unto the just, a foe's most favoured purpose to fulfil. Happy occasions of by self-mistrust are fortified, but infamy doth kill. She dwelt among untrodden ways by William Wordsworth. She dwelt among the untrodden ways beside the springs of Dove, made whom where were none to praise and very few to love. A violet by a mossy stone, half hidden from the eye, fair as a star when only one is shining in the sky. She lived unknown, and few could know when Lucy ceased to be, but she is in the grief, and oh, the difference to me. She was a phantom of delight by William Wordsworth. She was a phantom of delight when first she gleamed upon my sight, a lovely apparition, sent to be a moment's ornament, her eyes as stars of twilight fair, like twilights too her dusky hair, but all things else about her drawn for Maytime and the cheerful dawn, a dancing shape and image gay, to haunt, to startle and waylay. I saw upon near view a spirit yet a woman too, her household motions light and free, as steps of virgin liberty. I got a nose in which did meet sweet records promises as sweet, a creature not too bright or good for human nature's daily foot. For transient sorrows, simple wits, praise, blame, love, kisses, tears, and smiles. And now I see with eyes serene the very pulse of a machine, a being breathing thoughtful breath, a traveller between life and death, a reason firm, the temperate will, endurance, foresight, strength, and skill, a perfect woman, noble plan, to warn, to comfort, and command, and yet a spirit still and bright, with something of angelic light.
Simon Lee, the Old Huntsman by William Wordsworth. In the sweet shire of Cardigan, not far from pleasant Ivorhall, an old man dwells, a little man, 31 was tall. Of years he has upon his back, no doubt, a burthen weighty. He says he is 10, but others say he's 80. A long blue livery coat has he, that's fair behind and fair before. Yet meet him where you will, you see at once that he is poor. Full 25 years he lived, and running huntsman merry, and, though he has but one eye left, his cheek is like a cherry. No man like him the horn could sound, and no man was so full of glee. To say the least, 4 counties round had heard of Simon Lee. His master's dead, and no one now dwells in the hall of either. Men, dogs, and horses all are dead, he is the sole survivor. His hunting feats hath him bereft of his right eye, as you may see, and then what limbs those feats have left to poor old Simon Lee, He has no son, he has no child, his wife, an aged woman, lives with him near the waterfall upon the village common. And he's lean, and he is sick, his little body's half awry, his ankles they are swollen and thick, his legs are thin and dry. He was young, he little knew of husbandry or tillage, and now he's forced to work, the weakest in the village. He all the country could outrun, could leave both man and horse behind, and often, ere a race was done, he reeled and was stone blind. And still there's something in the world at which his heart rejoices, when the chimney hounds are out, he dearly loves their voices. Old Ruth works out of doors with him, and does what Simon cannot do, for she, not over stout of limb, is stouter of the two. While you with your utmost skill from labour could not wean them, alas, 'tis very little, all which we can do between them. Beside the moss-grown hut of clay, not 20 paces from the door, a scrap of land they have, and they are poorest of the poor. A scrap of land he from the heath enclosed when he was stronger, but what avails the land to them, which they can till no longer? Few months of life has he in store, as he to you will tell, for still the more he works, the more his poor old ankles swell. But gentle reader, I perceive, for patiently you've waited, and I'm afraid what you expect some tale will be related. O reader, had you in your mind stores a silent thought can bring, O gentle reader, you would find a tale in everything. What more I have to say is short. I hope you'll kindly take it. Is not tale, but should you think perhaps a tale you make it. One summer day it chanced to see this old man doing all he could about the root of an old tree, a stump of rotten wood. The mattock tottered in his hand, so vain was he and David, that at the root of the old tree he might have worked forever. You are a task, good Simon Lee, give me your tool, to him I said, and at the word right gladly received my proffered aid. I struck, and with a single blow the tangled root I served, which the poor old man so long and vainly had endeavoured. The tears into his eyes were brought, and thanks and praises seemed to run so fast out of his heart, a thought we never would have done. Thought of hearts unkind, kind deeds, with coldness still returning, alas, a gratitude of man has often left me mourning.
6 months to 6 years added he remained, by William Wordsworth. 6 months to 6 years added he remained upon the sinful earth, by sin and state. For blessed the Lord whose mercy when removed, a child whom every eye that looked on laughed, support us, teach us calmly to resign what we possessed, and knows holy wine. So fair, so sweet, withal so sensitive, by William Wordsworth. So fair, so sweet, withal so sensitive, what are the little flowers are born to live, conscious of half a pleasure which we give. But to this mountain daisy's self were known the beauty of its star-shaped shadow, thrown on the smooth surface of its naked stone. And what if hence bold desire should mount high as the sun, that he could take account of all that issues from his glorious fount? So mighty can now by his sovereign aid his delicate companionships are made, and how he rules the pomp of light and shade. And where the sister power which shines by night so privileged, what congealance of delight would through the clouds break forth on human sight. Fond fancies, wheresoever shall turn one eye on earth, ere ocean or the starry sky, converse with nature in pure sympathy. All vain desires, all lawless wishes quelled, we vow to love and praise alike impelled, whatever boon is granted or withheld. Soft as a cloud is yon blue ridge, by William Wordsworth. Soft as a cloud is yon blue ridge, the mirror seems firm, a solid crystal, breathless, clear and motionless, till the gazer's eye deeper than ocean in the immensity of its vague mountains and unreal sky. But from the process in that still retreat, turn to minute yet changes at our feet. Observe how dewy twilight has withdrawn the crowd of daisies from the shaven lawn, and has restored the view its tender green, that while the sun rode high was lost beneath their dazzling sheen. An emblem of Worcester what the sober hour can do for minds disposed to feel its power. As often when they in vain have wished away the petty pleasures of a garish day, make eve shut up the howl uprising host, and bashful draughts, each glittering at his post, and leaves the disencumbered spirit free to resume a steady simplicity. That's well, but what a helps of time and place, when wisdom stands in need of nature's grace, while the good thoughts invoke or not descend like angels from the bowers, or virtues to befriend. If yet tomorrow unbelief may say, I come to open out for fresh display the elastic vanities of yesterday. Song of a Spinning Wheel, by William Wordsworth. Swiftly turn the murmuring reel, night is brought a welcome hour, when the very fingers feel help as if from fairy power. Dreary night our shades are ground, turn the swift wheel round and round. No bend of the starry sky, couch the wildly scattered sheep. Ply the pleasant labour ply, while the spindle, while they sleep, runs with speed most smooth and fine, gathering up a trustier line.
Short-lived likings may be bred by a glance of fickle eyes, but true love is like a thread which through kindly rule supplies, when the flocks are all at rest, sleeping on the mountain's breast.
Speak, by William Wordsworth. Where art was silent, is there love a plant of such weak fibre that the treacherous air of absence withers what was once so fair? Is there no debt to pay, no boon to grant? Yet have my thoughts so read been wiggly and bound to the service with unceasing care. The mind's least generous wish a mendicant, for naught but what the happiness could spare. Speak forth with soft, warm heart, once free to hold 1,000 tender pleasures, thine and mine, be left more desolate, more dreary cold, when a forsaken bird's nest, filled with snow, mid its own bush of leafless eglantine. Speak that my torturing doubts their end may know. Stepping Westward, by William Wordsworth. What? You're stepping westward? Here. Should it be our wildish destiny, if we who thus together roam in a strange land, and far from home, were in this place the guests of chance, yet who would stop or fear to advance, where home or shelter he had none, with such a sky to lead him on? The dewy ground was dark and cold, behind or gloomy to behold, and stepping westward seemed to be a kind of heavenly destiny. I liked the greeting, 'twas a sound of something without place or bound, and seemed to give me a spiritual right to travel through that region bright. Her voice was soft, and she who spake was walking by a native lake. The salutation had to me the very sound of courtesy. Its power was felt, and while my eye was fixed upon the glowing sky, the echo of her voice enrolled a human sweetness with the thought of travelling through the world that lay before me in my endless way.
Strange fits of passion have I known, by William Wordsworth. Strange fits of passion have I known, and I will dare to tell, but in the lover's ear alone, what once to me befell. When she I loved looked every day fresh as a rose in June, I to a cottage bent my ray beneath an evening moon. Upon the moon I fixed my eye, all over the wide lea, with quickening pace my horse drew nigh those paths so dear to me. And now we reached the orchard plot, and as we climbed the hill, the sinking moon to Lucy's cot came near, and nearer still. In one of those sweet dreams I slept, kind nature's gentle boon, and all the while my eye I kept on the descending moon. My horse moved on, hoof after hoof, he raced and never stopped, and down behind the cottage roof at once the bright moon dropped. What fond and wayward thoughts will slide into a lover's head! For mercy, to myself I cried, if Lucy should be dead. Surprised by joy, by William Wordsworth. Surprised by joy, impatient as the wind, I turned to share the transport. Of whom but we, buried in the silent tomb, that spot which no vicissitude can find? Love, fateful love, recalled me to my mind, but how could I forget we? Through what power, even for the least division of an hour, ever been so begilded as to be blind to my most grievous lost? But thought's return was the worst pang that sorrow bore. Saffron, only one when I stood forlorn, long my heart's best treasure was no more, and neither present time nor years unborn could to my sight what heavenly face restore. The brownie, by William Wordsworth. How disappeared he? Asked the Newton toad, as of his fellow man in a way will tell, how he was found, cold as an icicle, and an ark of had fallen on a doe. Where he, unpropped, and by the gathering flood of years hemmed round, had drilled, prepared to try privation's worst extremities, and die with no one near save the omnipresent God. The real sound to live was an awful choice, a choice that was the aspect of a doom, and in the mode of mercy all is cast for souls familiar with the eternal voice, and with forgotten taper to the last drove from itself we trust all frightful gloom.
The Childless Father, by William Wordsworth. Up, Timothy, up, with your staff and away. Not a soul in the village this morning will stay. The har has just started from Hamilton's ground, and Skiddaw is glad with the cry of the hounds. Of coats and of jackets grey, scarlet and green, on the slopes of the pastures all colours were seen, with their comely blue aprons and caps white as snow. The girls on the hill made a holiday show. Fresh sprigs of green box wood, not 6 months before, filled the funeral basin of Timothy's door. The coffin through Timothy's weresword had passed, one child did it bear, and the child was the last. Now fast up the dale came the noise and the fray, the horse and the horn, and the hark, hark away. While Timothy looked up his staff, and he shut, with a leisurely motion, the door of his hut. Perhaps to himself at that moment he said, the key I must take, for my Ellen is dead. But of this, in my ears, not a word did he speak, and he went to the chase with a tear on his cheek.
The Convict, by William Wordsworth. The glory of evening was spread through the west, of slope of the mountain I stood, while the joy that preceded the calm season of rest rang loud through the meadow and wood. And must we then part from a dwelling so fair? With the pain of my spirit, I said, with deep sadness I turned to repair to the cell where the convict is laid. A thick ribbed wall that overshadowed the gate resounded, and the dungeons unfold. I paused, and at length, for the glimmering grate, that outcast of pity behold. His black matted head on his shoulder is bent and deep as the sigh of his breath. With steadfast dejection his eyes are intent on the fetters that link him to death. 'Tis sore enough on his visage to gaze, that body dismissed from his care. My fancy has pierced to his heart, poured through us what terrible images there. His bones are consumed, and his life-blood is dried, with wishes of the past to undo. And his crimes, with the pains that overwhelm him, is cried as he blanks and grows on his view. And from the dark synod, or black-reeked field, to his chamber the monarch is led, old sofas of sense without virtue's yield and quietness below his head. And if grief self-consumed and oblivion would deuce, and conscience the tortures the peace, the tumult and uproar of his men must repose in the comfortless vault of disease. When his fetters at night have suppressed on his limbs, and the weight can no longer be borne, if, when a half-slumber his memory bedims, wretch on his pallet should turn, while the jail mastiff howls at the dull clanking chain, from the roots of his hair there should start a thousand sharp punctures of cold sweating pain, and tears should leap at his heart. But now I have raised his deep-sunken eye, with motion unsettles a tear. The silence of sorrow, it seems to supply, ask of me why I am here. Poor victim, now idle intruder has stood, of our weaning complacence our state compare, but one, whose first wish is the wish to be good, is come, as a brother, thy sorrows to share. The name thou compassion and nature resign, on virtue's proud mouth thy report be a stain. By care, if the arm of the mighty were mine, would plant thee where yet thou mightst blossom again. The Dungeon, by Samuel Taylor Coleridge. And this place our forefathers made for man, with the prose of our love and wisdom. To each poor brother who offends against us, most innocent perhaps, and what if guilty? Is this the only cure, merciful God, each poor natural outlet shriveled up by ignorance and parching poverty? His energies roll back upon his heart, and stagnate and corrupt, till changed to poison they break out on him like loathsome plague spot. When we call in our pampered mountain banks, and this is the best cure, uncomforted and friendliless solitude, groaning and tears in savage faces at the clanking hour, seen through the steams and vapour of his dungeon. By the lamp's dismal twilight, so lies circled with evil, till his very soul unmoulds its essence, hopelessly deformed by sighs of evermore deformity. With other ministrations of our nature, he heals the wandering and distempered child, or pours on him by soft influences, by sunny hues, fair forms, and breathing sweets, by melodies of woods and winds and waters, till he will end can no more endure to be a jarring and a dissonant thing, mid this general dance and minstrelsy, but bursting into tears, wins back his way, his angry spirit healed and harmonized by the benignant touch of love and beauty. The Fountain, by William Wordsworth. We talked with open heart, and tongue affectionate and true, a pair of friends, for I was young, Matthew 72. We lay beneath a spreading oak beside a mossy seat, from the turf a fountain broke and gurgled at our feet. Now, Matthew, let us try to match this water's pleasant tune with some old border song, or catch that suits a summer's noon. Of the church clock and the chimps sing here beneath a shade that half-made thing of witty rhymes which you last April made. On silence Matthew lay and eyed the spring beneath a tree. Thus the dear old man replied, the grey-haired man of glee. Down to the vale this water steers, how merrily it goes, 'twill murmur on 1,000 years, on flowers now it flows. And here on this delightful day I cannot choose but think, how oft, vigorous man, I lay beside the fountain's brink. My eyes are dim with childish tears, my heart is idly stirred, for the same sound is in my ears, which in those days I heard. Thus fast it still in our decay, yet your wiser mind mourns less for what age takes away and what it leaves behind. The blackbird in the summer trees, the lark upon the hill, let loose their carols when they please, are quiet when they will. With nature never do they wage a foolish strife, they see a happy youth, and their old age is beautiful and free. But we are pressed by heavy laws, and often, glad no more, we wear a face of joy, because we have been glad of yore. If there's one who need bemoan his kindred laid in earth, the household hearts that were his own, it is the man of mirth. My days, my friend, are almost gone, my life has been approved. Many love me, but by none am I enough beloved. Now both himself and me he wrongs, the man who thus complains. I live and sing my idle song upon these happy plains. And Matthew, for thy children dead, I'll be a son to thee. And with he grasped his hands and said, Alas, that cannot be. Rose up from the fountain side, and down the smooth descent of a green sheep track that we glide, and the wood we went. And when we came to Leonard's Rock, we sang those witty rhymes about the crazy old church clock and the wilder chimps. The Haunted Tree by William Wordsworth. For silver clouds collected round the sun, his midway round abate not, seeming less to overshade with multiplied beams by soft reflection, grateful to the sky, to rocks, fields, woods. Not of our human sense asks for its pleasure, screen or canopy, more ample than at the time this mingled oak spreads out of its tougher feet, which now attired in the whole fullness of its bloom, affords couch beautiful as earth for earthly use was fashioned. Though by the hand of art the eastern sultan, amid flowers enwrought on silken tissue, might diffuse his limbs and languor, by nature for repose of panting, wood nymph weary with the chase. A lady fair and by poet's siren-faced spiritual creature of gross approach, and was in white crowned refreshed the noontide hour. For truly somewhere are whose footsteps superstitiously avoid this venerable tree. When the wind blows keenly, it sends forth a creaking sound, above a general roar of woods and cracks, distinctly heard from far, a doleful note, as if Sir Grecian shepherds would have deemed the hammered reed pen of them bewailed some bitter wrong. Nor is it then believed by rude fancy that the troubled ghost haunts the old trunk, lamenting deeds of which the flower ground is conscious. But our wind sweeps no longer this elevated ridge, but even as a fire stirs the obnoxious trees mute. And in the silence would look down, our lovely wanderer of attractors hills, on the reclining form with more delight than his covils in the shelter of the vale seemed to participate, the while they view their own fast-stretching arms and leafy hands, vividly pictured in some glassy pool, that, for a brief space, checks the hurrying stream.
The King of Sweden by William Wordsworth. The voice of song from distant lands shall call to that great king, shall hail the crowded youth, who, taking counsel of unbending truth, by one example half set forth to all, how they with dignity may stand or fall, if fall they must. Now whither doth it tend? And what to him and his shall be the end? That woe is one which neither can appeal nor cheer him, for the illustrious Swede hath done the thing which ought to be, is raised above all consequences, work he hath begun of fortitude and piety and love, which all his glorious anchors does approve. The heroes bless him their rightful son.
The Last of a Flock by William Wordsworth. In distant countries I have been, yet I have not often seen a healthy man, a man full grown, wheeling the public roads alone. But such a one on English ground in the broad highway I met. Along the broad highway he came, his cheeks with tears so wet, sturdy he seemed, for he was sad, in his arms a lamp he had. He saw me, and he turned aside, as if he wished himself to hide, and with his coat he made essay to wipe those briny tears away. I followed him, and said, My friend, what ails you? Wherefore weep you so? Shame me, sir, his lusty lamp, he makes my tears to flow. They have fetched him from the rock, he is the last of all my flock. When I was young, a single man, after youthful follies ran, for little given to care and thought, it so it was brought other sheep from her raised. As healthy sheep as you might see, and when I married and was rich, as I could wish to be. Of sheep a number the full scorn, every year increased my store. Year after year my stock it grew, and from this one the single full 50 comely sheep I raised, as sweet a flock as ever grazed. On the mountain did they feed, they throve, and we at home did thrive. As does the lamb before my store is all that is alive. I care not if we die or and perish all of poverty. 10 children so had I to feed, hard labor in a time of need. A pride was tamed and our grief, or of the parish asked relief. Said I was a wealthy man, my sheep upon the mountain fed, and it was fit, but whence it took whereof to buy us bread. Do this, how can we give to you? They cried, what if the poor is due? I saw the sheep as they had said, and bought my little children bread, and we were healthy with our food, and never did me good. A whole time it was for me to see the end of all my gains, the flock which I had reared with all my cares and pains. To see it melt like snow away from me, it was a woeful day. Another still, and still another, a little ere than its mother. It was a vein that never stopped, like blood drops from my heart they dropped. The 30 were not left alive, they dwindled one by one, and I might say that many a time I wished they all were gone. It dwindled one by one away from me, it was a woeful day. Wicked deeds I was inclined, and wicked fancies crossed my mind. When mine chanced to see, I thought he knew some love me. But peace nor comfort could I find no ease, with indoors or without, crazy and verbally I went my work about. Ofttimes I thought to run away, when it was a woeful day. So it was a precious flock to me, as dear as my own children be. Daily with my growing store, I loved my children more and more, alas, was an evil time. Cursed me my sort of stress I prayed, yet every day I thought I loved my children less, and every week, every day my flock it seemed to melt away. It dwindled, sir, inside to see, 10 to 5, from 5 to 3, a lamp, however, and an oar, when at last, from 3 to 2, and of my 5th, yesterday, but only one, and yet lies upon my arm, alas, and I have none. I fetch it from a rock, it is the last of my flock. The leaves that rustled on this oak-crowned hill, by William Wordsworth. The leaves that rustled on this oak-crowned hill, and sky that danced among those leaves are still. Rest smooth away for sleep, in field and bower, soft shades and dews, which had their blended power on dropping eyelid and the closing flow. Sound is where none at which the faintest heart might leave, the weakest nerve of superstition start. Save in violet's unexpected scream pierces the eternal vault, amid the gleam of unsubstantial imagery, the dream from the hushed wails realities transferred to the still lake. The imaginative bird seems, mid inverted mountains, not unheard. Crave creature, whether all the moon shines bright on the wings open wide for smoothest flight, or discovered in a roofless tower, rising from what may once have been a lady's bower, or spied where thou sittest mopping in thy mew, at the dim centre of a churchyard yew. Or from a rifted crackle I be taught, deep in the forest, by secure abode, thou givest, for pastime's sake, by shriek or shout, a puzzling notice of the whereabout. May the night never come, nor day be seen, I should scorn the voice, or mock why mine. In classic ages man perceived the soul of sapience in the aspect headless owl. The Aetons referenced in the studious grove, and near the golden sceptre grasped by Jove, his eagle's favourite perch, around him sate the gods revolve in the decrees of fate. Thou too were present at Minerva's sight. Hark to that second larum, far and wide, the elements have heard, and rock and cave replied.
The Longest Day by William Wordsworth. Let us quit the lofty arbour, and the torrent murmuring by, for the sun is in his harbour, weary of the open sky. Evening now unbinds the fetters, fashioned by the glowing light. All that breathe are thankful debtors to the harbinger of night. Yet by some grave thoughts attendant, Eve renews her calm career, for the day that now is ended is the longest of the year. Dora, sport as now thou sportest, on this platform light and free, take the bliss, while longest, shortest are indifferent to we. Who would check the happy feeling that inspires the lined song? Who would stop the swallow wheeling on a pinion swift and strong? Yet at this impressive season, words which tenderless can speak from the truths of homely reason might exhale the loveliest check. And while shades to shades unseating steal the landscape from the sight, I would urge with moral pleading, last forerunner of good night. Summer ebbs each day that follows, as a reflux from a high, tending to the darksome hollows where the frost of winter lie. He who governs the creation in his providence assigned such a gradual declining to the life of humankind. Yet we mark it not, fruits ripen, fresh flowers blow as flowers have blown, and the heart is loath to deem hopes that she nor long have known. Be were wiser, youthful maiden, and when decline shall come, let not druvers or boards fruit laden hide the knowledge of a doom. Now, even now, wrapped in slumber, fix thine eyes upon the sea that absorbs time, space, and number. Look thou to eternity. Follow thou the flowing river, on whose breast are five born, all deceiving and each deceiver, through the gates of night and morn. Through the year's successive portals, through the bones which many a star marks, not mindless of frail mortals, when the light returns from far. Was when thou with time hast travelled toward the mild gulfs of things, and the mazy stream unravelled with the best imaginings. Think, if thou on beauty leanest, think how pitiful that state, that in virtue give the meanest charms superior to deceit. Duty, like a strict preceptor, sometimes frowns or seems to frown. Choose the thistle for the spectre, while youth's roses are the crown. Grasp it, if thou shrink and tremble, fairest damsel of the green, or white lack the only symbol that proclaims a genuine queen. And ensure was palms of honor, which selected spirits were, bending low before the donor, Lord of heaven's unchanging year.
The Mad Mother by William Wordsworth. Her eyes are wild, her head is bare, the sun has burned her coal-black hair. Her eyebrows have a rusty stain, and she came far from over the main. She has a baby on her arm, while she were alone. Underneath a haystack warm, on the greenwood stone, she talked and sung the woods among, and it was in the English tongue. Sweet babe, they say that I am mad, but now my heart is far too glad, and I am happy when I sing, for many a sad and doleful thing. Then, lovely babe, do not fear, I pray thee have no fear of me, but safe as in a cradle here, my lovely baby, thou shalt be. To thee I know too much, I cannot work thee any will. A fire was once within my brain, in my head a dull, dull pain. A fiendish face, 1, 2, 3, hung at my breasts and pulled at me. And then there came a sight of joy. It came at once to do me good. I waked and saw my little boy of flesh and blood. A joy for me that sight to see, for he was here, and only he. Suck, little baby, or suck again. It coats my blood, it coats my brain. Lips, I feel them, baby, they draw from my heart the pain away. Press me with thy little hand, it loosens something at my chest. About the tight and deadly bend, I feel thy little fingers pressed. The breeze, the sea is in the tree, it comes to cool my babe and me. Oh, love me, little boy, thou art thy mother's only joy. I do not dread the waves below, where o'er the sea rock's edge we go. The high crag cannot work me harm, nor leaping torrents when they howl. The babe I carry on my arm, he saves for me my precious soul. Then happy lie, for blessed am I, without me my sweet baby would die. And do not fear, my boy, for thee, bold as a lion I will be, will always be thy guide, through hollow snows and rivers wide, build an Indian bower, and over leaves would make the softest bed. And if for me thou wilt not go, but still be true till I am dead, my pretty thing, and thou shouldst sing as merry as the birds in spring. The father cares not for my breast, 'tis thine, sweet baby, there to rest. It is all thine own, and if its hue be changed, with woes so fair to view, it is fair enough for thee, my dove. My beauty, little child, is flown, but thou wilt live with me in love. What if my poor cheek be brown? It is well for me, thou canst not see how pale and worn it else would be. Dread not thy taunts, my little life, I am the father's wedded wife, and underneath the spreading tree we two will live in honesty. If his sweet boy he could forsake, with me he never would have stayed. From him no harm our babe can take, what he, poor man, is wretched make. Every day we two will pray for him that's gone and far away. I'll teach my boy the sweetest things, I'll teach him how the owlet sings. My little babe, thy lips are still, thou hast always sucked thy fill. Where art thou gone, my own dear child? What wicked looks are those I see? Alas, alas, what looks so white, it never, never came from me. If thou art mad, my pretty lad, then I must be for ever sad. Oh, smile on me, my little lamb, for I thy own dear mother am. My love for thee has well been tried, I've sought thy father far and wide. Nor the poisons of a shade, nor the earth nuts fit for food. Then, pretty dear, be not afraid, you'll find thy father in the wood. Now laugh and be gay, to the woods away, and where, my babe, we'll live for aye.
The martial courage of a day is wane, by William Wordsworth. The martial courage of a day is vain, an empty noise of death a battle's roar. The vital hope be wanting to restore, or fortitude be wanting to sustain, armies or kingdoms. We have heard a strain of triumph over the burrowing Danville bore, a weight of hostile causes, drenched with gore, where the wide fields, the hamlets heaped with slain. Yet see the mighty tumult of a past, Austria, a daughter of a fawn half sold, and the Turian champion we behold, murdered like one ashore by shipwreck cast, murdered without relief. How blind is bold to think that such assurance can stand fast. The Mother's Return, by William Wordsworth. A month 3 little ones is past, since your dear mother went away, and she tomorrow will return, tomorrow is the happy day. The blessed tidings, thought of joy, the eldest heard with steady glee, silently stood, then laughed amain and shouted, Mother, come to me. Louder and louder did he shout, the witless harp to bring her near. Thy patience, patience, little boy, your tender mother cannot hear. I told of hills and far off town and long, long vale to travel through. He listens, puzzled, sore perplexed, but he submits, what can he do? No strife disturbs his sister's breast, she wars not with the mystery of time and distance, night and day, the bonds of our humanity. Her joy is like an instinct joy of kitten, bird or summerfly. She dances, runs without a name, she chatters in ecstasy. Her brother now takes up the note and echoes back his sister's glee, the hug of the infant in my arms, as if to force a sympathy. Then settling into fond discourse, we rested in the garden bower, while sweetly shone the evening sun in his departing hour. We told o'er all that we had done, our rambles by the swift brook's side, far as a willow-skirted pool, where two friends once together glide. We talked of change, of winter gone, of green leaves on the hawthorn spray, of birds that build their nests and sing, and all, since mother went away. To her these tales we will repeat, to her our newborn Christ will show, the goslings green, the cold, the lambs that in the meadow go. But see the evening star comes forth, that the children must depart. Moments heaviness they feel, a sadness in the heart. 'Tis gone, and in a merry fit we ran upstairs in games and race. I too infected by the wood, I could have joined the wanton chase. 5 minutes passed, and I would change, asleep upon the beds will lie, with my limbs in perfect rest, and close the sparkling eye. The Rainbow, by William Wordsworth. My heart leaps up when I behold a rainbow in the sky. So was it when my life began, so is it now I am a man. So be it when I shall grow old, or let me die. The child is father of a man, and I wish my days to be bound each to each by natural beauty.
The Red-breast Chasing the Butterfly by William Wordsworth. Art of a bird man loves best, pious bird with a scarlet breast, our little English robin, the bird that comes about our doors when autumn winds are sobbing. Out of the Peter of Norway bores, the Thomas in Finland and Russia far inland, the bird that by some name or other all men who know we call their brother, the darling of children, man. Godfather aid him open his eyes and see the sight bend of the skies, he'd wish to close them again. If the butterfly knew but his friend's high-wise flight, he would bend and find his way to me and the branches of a tree. In and out he darts about, can this be the bird to man so good, that after their bewildering crowd leaves the little children so painfully in the wood? What ivy robin, that woe couldst purse a beautiful creature that is gentle by nature? When the summer sky from flower to flower let him fly, it is all that he wishes to do. A cheer of woe of our indoor sadness, he is a friend of our summer gladness. What hinders when we should be playmates in the sunny weather, and fly about in the air together? His beautiful rings and crimson are dressed, the crimson's bright as thine own. Wouldst thou be happy in thy nest, O pious bird, whom man loves best? Love him or leave him alone. The Sailor's Mother by William Wordsworth. One morning, raw it was and wet, a foggy day in winter time. A woman on a road I met, not old, with something past the prime, majestic in a person tall and straight, like a Roman matron's was in mien and gait. The ancient spirit is not dead, old times, thought I, are breathing there. Proud was I with my country bred, such strength and dignity so fair. She begged on alms, like one in poor estate. I looked at her again, nor did my pride abate. When from these lofty thoughts I woke, "What is it," said I, "that you be benefit covered of your cloak, protected from this cold damp air?" She answered soon as she questioned her, "A simple burthen, sir, a simple burthen, sir, a little singing bird." And thus continuing, she said, "I had a son who many a day sailed on the seas, but he is dead. In Denmark he was cast away, and I have travelled very miles to see if aught which he had owned might still remain for me. The bird and cage were both for his, it was my son's bird, and neat and trimly kept it. Many voyages the singing bird had gone with him, when least he sailed he left the bird behind, for moorings as mighty that hung upon his mind. He to a fellow lodger's care had left it to be watched and fed, and piped its song in safety. Where I found it when my son was dead. Now God help him for my little wit. Bear it with me, sir, he took so much delight in it." The Shepherd Looking Eastward Softly Said by William Wordsworth. The shepherd looking eastward softly said, "Bright is thy veil, O moon, as thou art bright." Forthwith the little cloud never spread, and penetrated all with tender light. She cast away in short effulgent head uncovered, dazzling the beholder's sight, as if to vindicate her beauty's right, her beauty thoughtlessly disparaged. Meanwhile the veil removed or thrown aside, and floating from her, darkening as it went, in the huge mass to bury or to hide, approached this glory of the firmament, who meekly yields, and is obscured content, with one calm triumph of modest pride. The Sparrow's Nest by William Wordsworth. Behold, within the leafy shade was bright blue eggs together laid. On me the chance's covered side gleamed like a vision of delight. I started, seeming to espy the home and sheltered bed, the sparrow's dwelling, which hard by my father's house, in a withered dry my sister Emmeline and I together visited. She looked at it and seemed to fear it, dreading to wishing to be near it. Such heart was in her, being when a little prattler among men. A blessing of my later year was with me when a boy. She gave me eyes, she gave me ears, and humble care and delicate fears, a heart a fountain of sweet tears, and love and thought and joy. The stars are mansions built by nature's hand, by William Wordsworth. The stars are mansions built by nature's hand, and hardly where the spirits of a blessed dwell, clothed in radiance the immortal west. Huge ocean shows within his yellow strand a habitation marvelously planned, for life to occupy in love and rest. All that we see is dome or vault or nest or fortress reared at nature's sage command. Glad thought for every season that the spring gave it while cares were waiting on my heart. Mid song of birds and insects murmuring, and while the youthful year's prolific art of bud, leaf-bladed flower was fashioning abodes where self-disturbance hath no part.
The sun has long been set by William Wordsworth. The sun has long been set, the stars are out by twos and threes, the little birds are piping yet among the bushes and the trees. There's a cuckoo, and one or two thrushes, and the far off wind that rushes, and the sound of water that gushes. And the cuckoo's sovereign cry fills all the hollow of the sky. Who would go parading in London and masquerading on such a night of June, with that beautiful soft half-moon, and all these innocent blisses, on such a night as this is?
The Tables Turned by William Wordsworth. Up, up, my friend, and quit your books, or surely you'll grow double. Up, up, my friend, and clear your looks, by all this toil and trouble. The sun above the mountain's head, freshening a lustre mellow, through all the long green fields has spread his first sweet evening yellow. Books, 'tis a dull and endless strife, calm me hear the woodland linnet, how sweet is the music on my life, there's more of wisdom in it. And hark how blithe Roslin sings, he too is no mean preacher, come forth into the light of things, let nature be your teacher. She has a world of ready wealth, of minds and hearts to bless, spontaneous wisdom breathed by health, truth breathed by cheerfulness. An impulse from vernal wood may teach you more of man, of moral evil and of good, than all the sages can. Sweet is the law which nature brings, or meddling intellect mishapes the beauteous forms of things, the murder to dissect. In love of science and of art, close up those barren leaves, come forth, bring a few heart that watches and receives. The 2 April Mornings by William Wordsworth. We walked along, a bright and red uprose the morning sun. Matthew stopped, he looked and said, "The will of God be done." A village schoolmaster was he, the fair of glittering grey, as blithe a man as you could see on a spring holiday. And on that morning through the grass and by the steaming rills we travelled merrily to pass a day among the hills. Our work, said I, was well begun, when from the breastward forth beneath so beautiful a sun, so sad a sigh has brought. A second time did Matthew stop, and fixing still his eye upon the eastern mountain top, to me he made reply. The cloud of that long purple cleft brings fresh into my mind a day like this which I have left for 30 years behind. On that slope of springing corn, the same crimson hue fell from the sky that April morn, the same which now I view. Trodden line my silent sport applied by Derwent's wave, and coming to the church, I stopped short beside my daughter's grave. 9 summers have she scarcely seen the pride of all the vale, and when she sang, she would have been a very nightingale. 6 feet in earth my Emma lay, and yet I loved her more, for so it seemed when till that day I had loved before. Turning from her grave, I meet beside the churchyard yew a blooming girl, whose hair was wet with points of morning dew. A basket on her head she bare, her brow was smooth and white, the child so very fair was her pure delight. A fountain from its rocky cave, where tripped the foots so free, she seemed as happy as a wave that dances on the sea. It came for me a sigh of pain, which I could ill confine. I looked at her and looked again, and wished her mine. Matthew's in his grave, yet now, methinks, I see him stand, as at that moment with his bow and wielding in his hand. The 2 Thieves by William Wordsworth. Oh, now that the genius of Berwick were mine, and the skill which you learned on the banks of the Tyne, amuses my deal with me just as it chose, for I take my last leave both of verse and of prose. What feasts would I work with a magical hand? Book learning and books should be banished to the land, and for hunger and thirst in such troublesome coils, that the alehouse should then have a feast on its boards. Traveller would hang his wet clothes on a chair, let him smoke, let them burn, not a straw would he care, for a prodigal sun shows the stream and its sheaves, or what would there be to my tale of 2 thieves? Little Dennis unbreached, he's 3 birthdays old, his grandsire at age more than 30 times old. There's 90 good seasons of fair and full weather between them, and both go stealing together. If Chips is the carpenter strewing his floor, as a cartload of beasts at an old woman's door, O Daniel his hand to the treasure will slide, and his grandsons is busy at work by his side. O Daniel begins, he stops short in his eye, through the lost look of thought discarding and sly. 'Tis a look which at this time is hardly his own, but tells a plain tale of the days that have flown. Then once had a heart which was moved by the wires of many for the pleasures and many desires. And what if he cherished his purse? 'Twas no more than treading a path trod by thousands before. 'Twas a path trod by thousands, but Daniel is one who went something farther when others have gone. And oh, Daniel, to see how fast you see to what end he has brought his grey hairs. The pair sally forth hand in hand. If the sun has peered out of the beach, the work is begun. And yet into whatever sin they may fall, this child but half knows it, and wit not at all. They hunt through the street with deliberate tread, and each in his turn is both lair and led. wherever we cave their plots and their wiles, every face in the village is dimpled with smiles. Never checked by the rich, nor the needy they roam, for grey-headed Dennis a daughter at home, will gladly repair all the damage that's done, and free, I ask, we render for one. Old man, whom so oft I with pity have eyed, love thee and love, sweet boy, at thy side. Long yet mayst more live, for a teacher we see, lifts up a wail of our nature in thee. The waterfall and the eglantine, by William Wordsworth. Begone, thou fond presumptuous elf, exclaimed the thundering voice, nor dare to thrust thy foolish self between me and my choice. A falling water swollen with snows forspake to a poor briar rose, that all spattered with his foam, and dancing high and dancing low was living, the child might know in an unhappy hour. Does a presumer cause to block? Off! Oh, puny thing, if hurled we headlong with a rock to which the fibres cling. A flood was tyrannous and strong, the patient briar suffered long, did he utter groan or sigh, hoping the danger would be past, but seeing no relief, at last he ventured to reply. Ah, said the briar, blame me not, why should we dwell and strive, we who in this our natal spot once lived a happy life, who stirred me on my rocky bed, for the pleasure through my veins you spread, but stumble along from day to day my leaves you freshed and bedewed, nor was it common gratitude, but did your cares repay. And spring came on with bud and bell among these rocks that I, before you hang my breath to tell, gentle days were nigh. With sultry summer hours, I shaded you with leaves and flowers, leaves now shed and gone, wherein it lodged and forced to, chaunted its pretty song when you had little voice or none. But now proud thoughts are in your breast, what grief is mine, you see, or would you think, even yet how blessed together we might be, with both leaf and flower bereft, some ornaments to me are left, which a store of scarlet hips is mine, which I in my humble way would deck you many a winter's day, our happy eglantine. What more he said I cannot tell, the stream came thundering down the dale, and galloped loud and fast. I listened, nor aught else could hear, the briar quaked and much I fear was accents verse last.
The Wild Duck's Nest, by William Wordsworth. The imperial consort of a fairy king owns not a sylvan bower or gorgeous cell, with emerald floored and with purple-reared shells ceilinged and roofed, but is so fair a thing as the low structure of a task of spring repaired by one who laughs the bygone swell of the brisk waves. Yet he consents to trail, and spreads in steadfast peace a brooding wing. Worlds cannot pain the o'ershaddowing droopy bow and dimly gleaming nest. A hello crown of golden leaves inlaid with silver dawn, fine as the mother's softest plums alow. I gazed and, self-accused while gazing, sighed for humankind, weak slaves of cumbrous pride. The world is too much with us, by William Wordsworth. The world is too much with us, late and soon, getting and spending, we lay waste our powers. Little we see in nature that is ours. We have given our hearts away, a sordid boon, the sea that bears a bosom to the moon. The windward will be howling at all hours, and are upgathered now like sleeping flowers. For this, for everything, we are out of tune, it moves us not. Great God, I'd rather be a pagan, suckled in a creed outworn, so might I, standing on this pleasant lea, have glimpses that make me less forlorn, have sight of Proteus rising from the sea, or hear old Triton blow his wreathed horn. There's a pleasure in poetic paints, by William Wordsworth. There is a pleasure in poetic paints, which only poets know. 'Twas rightly said, whom could the muses else allure to tread their smoothest paths, to whirl their lightest chains? When happiest fancy has inspired the strains of the malice of one luckless word, pursues the enthusiast to the social board, haunts him belated on the silent plains. Yet he repines not, if his fort stand clear, at last, of hindrance and obscurity, fresh as the star that crowns the brow of morn, bright, speckless, as a softly molded tear, the moment it has left the virgin's eye, or raindrop lingering on the pointed throne.
There's an eminence, by William Wordsworth. There's an eminence of these so hills, the last that parleys with the setting sun. We can behold it from our orchard seat, and when at evening we pursue our walk along the public way, with cliffs so high above us and so distant in its height, is visible, and often seems to send its only quiet to restore our hearts. The mythos make of it a favourite haunt, the star of Jove, so beautiful and large, and the mid-heavens is never half so fair as when he shines above it. 'Tis in truth the loneliest place we have among the clouds, and she who dwells with me, whom I have loved with such communion, that no place on earth can ever be a solitude to me, have said, this lonesome peak shall be my name. There was a boy, by William Wordsworth. There was a boy, Ye knew well ye cliffs and islands of Winanda. Many a time at evening, when the stars had just begun to move along the edges of the hills, rising or setting, would he stand alone beneath the trees or by the glimmering lake, and there, the fingers interwoven, both hands pressed closely, palm to palm, to his mouth uplifted, he, as for an instrument, blew mimic hootings to the silent owls, that they might answer him. And they would shout across the watery vale and shout again, responsive to his call, with quivering peals and long hallooes and screams and echoes loud, redoubled and redoubled, a wild scene of mirth and joke and din. And when it changed with pauses of deep silence, mocked his skill, when sometimes in that silence, while he hung listening, a gentle shock of mild surprises carried far into his heart the voice of mountain torrents, or the visible scene would enter unawares into his mind, with all its solemn imaginary, its rocks, its woods, and that uncertain heaven received into the bosom of a steady lake. Fair the woods and beauteous is the spot, the vale where he was born. The churchyard hangs upon a slope upon a village school, and there along that bank, when I have passed at evening, I believe, that near his grave, a full half hour together I have stood, mute, for he died when he was 10 years old.
They called we Merry England in old time, by William Wordsworth. They called we Merry England in old time, a happy people won for we that name, with envy heart in many a distant clime. And, spite of change, for me what keeps the same endearing title, a responsive chime to the heart's fond belief. For some there are whose sterner judgments deem it word a snare, for inattentive fancy, like the line which foolish birds are caught with. Can I ask this face of rural beauty be a mask for discontent and poverty and crime? These breeding tones a cloak for lawless will? Forbid it, heaven, and Merry England still should be the rightful name in prose and rhyme.
This lawn, a carpet all alive, by William Wordsworth. This lawn, a carpet all alive, with shadows flung from leaves, to strive and dance amid a press of sunshine, and napped emblem yields of worldlings revealing in the fields of strenuous idleness. As quick the stir and tightened breeze encounter, into narrow seas forbid a moment's rest. The medley less from boreal lights glance to and fro like airy spirits, the feats of arms at rest. Yet spite of all this eager strife, this Jesus play of genuine life, it serves as steadfast hours, is in the grass beneath, where grows unheeded, and the mute repose of sweetly breathing flowers. Whose words were uttered as in pensive mood, by William Wordsworth. Whose words were uttered as in pensive mood, returned, departing from that solemn sight. A contrast that reproached the gross delight, and life's unspiritual pleasures daily wooed. But now upon this fount I cannot brood, it is unstable as the dream of night. Nor will I praise a cloud, however bright, is parching man's gift and proper food. Grove, isles of every shape of sky-built doom, or clad in colours beautiful and pure, find in the heart of man no natural home. The immortal mind craves objects that endure, we cleaves to it, or we that cannot roam, nor way from it, the fellowship is secure. For narrow be that old man's cares, by William Wordsworth. For narrow be that old man's cares, and near the poor old man is greater than he seems, for he of waking empire widest dreams, and emperor's serenity of eye and ear. Rich eyes walks with supernatural cheer, the region of his inner spirit teems with vital sounds and monetary gleams, of high astonishment and pleasuring fear. He the 7 birds hath seen that never part, seen the 7 whistlers in the nightly rounds, and counted them, and oftentimes will start overhead, as sweeping Gabriel's horns doomed, with their impious lord, the flying heart, to chase for ever on aerial grounds. Thought on the Seasons, by William Wordsworth. Flooded with promise of escape from every hurtful blast, spring takes, or springling May, where shape the loveliest and her last. Less fair as summer riding high in fierce celestial power, less fair when the linear sky brings on a parting hour. And earth repays with golden sheaves the labours of applause, and ripening fruits and frozen leaves will brighten on the bough. What pensive beauty autumn shows, before she hears the sound of winter rushing in, to close the emblematic round. Such be our spring, or summer such, so may our autumn blend with horrid winter, and life touch through heaven-born hope her end. 3 years she grew in sun and shower, by William Wordsworth. 3 years she grew in sun and shower, when nature said, a lovelier flower on earth was never sown, this child I to myself will take, she should be mine, and I will make a lady of my own. Myself will to my darling be, both law and impulse, and with me, the girl in rock and plain, in earth and heaven, and glade and bower, shall feel an o'erseeing power to kind love restrain. Shall be sportive as the fawn, and wide with glee across the lawn, up the mountain springs, and hers shall be the breathing balm, and hers the silence and the calm of mute insensate things. Folding clothes were stage-land to her, for however willow bent, nor should she fail to see even the motions of a storm, a beauty which shall mould her form by silent sympathy. Stars of midnight shall be dear to her. She shall lean her ear in many a secret place, and rivulets to dance by wayward drone, and beauty born of murmuring sound shall pass into her face. And vital feelings of delight shall rear her form to stately height, a virgin bosom swell, such thoughts to Lucia will give, while she and I together live here in this happy dell. Thus nature spake. My work was done, or soon my Lucy's race was run. She died and left to me this heath, this calm and quiet scene, the memory of what has been and never more will be. 'Tis said that some have died for love, by William Wordsworth. 'Tis said that some have died for love, and here in the bare churchyard grave is found in the cold north's unhallowed ground, because a wretched man himself had slain his love with such a grievous pain. And there's one whom I 5 years have known, he dwells alone upon Helvellyn's side, he laughed, a pretty Barbara died, thus he makes his moan. 3 years had Barbara in her grave been laid, when was his moan he made. Or move our cottage from behind that oak, or let the aged tree uprooted lie, that in some other way yon smoke may mount into the sky. The clouds pass on, they from the heavens depart, I look, the sky's empty space, I know not what I trace. When I cease to look, my hand is on my heart. Or what a weight is in these shades. Here leaves, when will the dying murmur be suppressed? Your sound of heart of peace bereft, and robs my heart of rest. The thrush that singeth loud and free, into yon row of willows flit upon that elder sit, does sing another song, or chose another tree. Or back, sweet rill, back to the mountain bounds, and there forever be the waters chained. The thou dost haunt the earth with sounds, that cannot be sustained. If still beneath that pine tree's red bough headlong yon waterfall must come, or let it then be dumb, be anything, sweet will, but that which thou art know. Thou eglantine whose arc so proudly towers, even like a rainbow spanning half a vale, the one fair shrub bough shed the flowers, and stir not in the gale. Was to see thee nodding in the air, to see thy arc was stretch and bend, was rise and was descend, disturbs me, to the sight is more than I can bear. The man who makes this feverish complaint is one of giant stature, who could dance equipped from head to foot in iron mail. A gentle love, if ever thought was thine to store up kindred hours for me, thy face turned from me, gentle love, nor let me walk within the sound of Emma's voice, or know such happiness as I have known today.
To a Snowdrop by William Wordsworth. Lone flower, hemmed in with snow and white as sway, but hardier far, once more I see thee bend, thy forehead as if fearful to offend, like an unbidden guest. Though day by day storms sallying from the mountain tops waylay the rising sun, and on the plains descant, yet art ever welcome as a friend, whose zeal outruns his promise. Blue-eyed May shall soon be hungry, this born of thickly set, with bright jonquils, their odors lavishing on the soft west wind and his frolic peace. Nor will I when by modest strikes forget chaste snowdrop, wondrous harboring of spring, and pensive monitor of fleeting years.
To Joanna by William Wordsworth. Amid the smoke of cities did you pass your time of early youth, and there you learned from years of quiet industry to love the living beings by your own fireside with such a strong devotion that your heart is loud towards the sympathies of them who look upon the hills with tenderness, and make dear friendships with the streams and groves. Yet we who are transgressors in this kind, dwelling retired in our simplicity among the woods and fields, we love you well, Joanna, and I guess, since you have been so distant from us now for 2 long years, that you will gladly listen to the discourse, however trivial, if you hence are taught that they, with whom you once were happy, talk familiarly of you and of old times. While I was seated, now some 10 days past, beneath those lofty fires, that overtopped the ancient neighbour, the old steeple tower, a vicar from his gloomy house hard by, came forth to greet me, and he had asked, "How fares Joanna, that wild-hearted maid? When will she return to us?" He paused, and after a short exchange of village news, he with grave looks demanded, for what cause reviving obsolete idolatry, like ironic priests and characters of formidable size, had chiselled out some uncarved name upon the native rock above a river by the forest side. Now by those dear immunities of art, endangered betwixt malice and true love, I was not loth to be so catchest, and this was my reply. As it befell, one summer morning we had walked abroad at break of day, Joanna and myself, to that delightful season when the broom for flower invisible on every step, along the copses runs in veins of gold. A pathway led us on the river's banks, and then they came in front of a tall rock, which looks towards the east. I there stopped short, and traced the lofty barrier with my eye from base to summit. Such delight I found to note in shrub and tree and stone and flower, with intermixture of delicious hues along the vast surface, all at once in one impression, by connecting force, their own beauty matched by the heart. I had gazed perhaps 2 minutes' space. Joanna, looking in my eyes, beheld a ravishment of mine, and laughed aloud. A rock, like something starting from sleep, took up the lady's voice, and laughed again. The ancient woman seated on Helm Crag was ready with a cavern, hammer, scar, and the tall steep of silver house on forth, a noise of laughter, southern Lothric heard. And Fairfield answered with a mountain town, healthy and fine, to the clear blue sky, came the lady's voice. Outskyr blew his baking trumpet, back out of the clouds of Camara southward came the voice, and Kirkstone tossed it from his misty head. Now, weather, said I to our cordial friend, whom the heyday of astonishment smiled on my face, as when simple truth a work accomplished by the brotherhood of ancient mountains, or my ear was touched with dreams and visionary impulses, is not for me to tell, but sure I am that there was a loud uproar in the hills. And, while we both were listening, to my side the fair Joanna drew, as if she wished to shelter from some object of her fear. And hence, long afterwards, when 18 moons were wasted, as I chanced to walk alone beneath his rock, at sunrise, on a calm and silent morning, I sate down, and there in memory of affections old and true, I chiselled out in those rude characters Joanna's name upon the living stone. And I and all who dwell by my fireside have called the lovely rock Joanna's Rock. To the Lady Mary Lowther by William Wordsworth. Lady, I rifled a Parnassian cave, but seldom trod of mildly gleaming ore, and culled from sundry beds a lucid store of genuine crystals, pure vows that path azure brooks that I enjoys to lave a spotless limits, a venture to explore dim shades, for relics upon life's shore, cast up at random by the sullen wave. To human hands the treasures were resigned, and lo, was the work of grotto bright and clear, from stain or taint, which the blameless mind my feet unfolds for pensive notossery, and if a deeper spirit be inclined to holy musings, it may enter here.
To the Men of Kent by William Wordsworth. Vanguard of liberty, ye men of Kent, ye children of a soil that doth advance, or hold your brow against the coast of France, now's the time to prove your hardiment. To France be words of invitation sent, where from the fields can see the contenance of your fierce war, make keen the glittering lawns, and hear your shouting forth your brave intent. Left single in bold parley, ye of yore did from the Norman win a gallant wrath, confirmed the charters that were yours before. Now parleying now, in Britain is one breath. We all are with you now from shore to shore, ye men of Kent, 'tis victory or death. To the Planet Venus by William Wordsworth. What strong allurement draws, what spirit guides thee, Vesper, brightening still as if a near thou comes to man's adobe the spot grew dearer night after night? True is it, nature hides her treasures less and less. Man now presides in power, where once he trembled in his weakness. Science advanced with gigantic strides. But are we aught enriched in love and meekness? Aught still the sea, bright star, of pure and wise, more than in humbler times graced human story, that makes our heart more apt and sympathize with heaven, our souls more fit for future glory, when earth shall vanish from our closing eyes, ere we lie down in our last dormitory?
We Are 7 by William Wordsworth. A simple child, dear brother Jim, that lightly draws its breath, and feels its life in every limb, what should it know of death? I met a little cottage girl, she was 8 years old, she said, hair was thick with many a curl that clustered round her head. She had a rustic woodland air, and she was wildly clad, eyes were fair, and very fair beauty made me glad. Sisters and brothers, little maid, many may you be, how many? 7 more, she said, wondering looked at me. And where, pray you tell, she answered, Sir, we, 2 of us at Convent dwell, and 2 are gone to sea. 2 of us in the churchyard lie, my sister and my brother in the churchyard cottage, dwell near them with my mother. You say the 2 at Convent dwell, and 2 are gone to sea, yet you are 7, I pray you tell, sweet maid, how this may be. When did the little maid reply, 7 boys and girls we are, 2 of us in the churchyard lie, beneath a churchyard tree. You run about, my little maid, your limbs wake alive, if 2 in the churchyard laid, we are only 5. The graves are green, they may be seen, the little maid replied, 12 step or more from my mother's door, and we are side by side. The stockings were often knit, kerchiefs were hem, and there upon the ground I sit and sing to them. Often after sunset, sir, when it is light and fair, I take my little prong, I eat my supper there. The first that died was little Jane, in bed she mourning lay. He got released her of her pain, and then she went away. So the churchyard she was laid, and all the summer dry. Together round the grave we played, my brother John and I. And when the ground was white with snow, and I could run and slide, brother John was forced to count, he lies by her side. How many are you then, said I, if they two are in heaven? And the maiden did reply, O master, we are 7. But they are dead, was 2 are dead, their spirits are in heaven. 'Twas throwing words away, for still the little maid would have her will, and said, they were 7.
Weak is the will of man, his judgment blind. By William Wordsworth. Weak is the will of man, his judgment blind. Remembrance persecutes, and hope betrays. Heavy is woe and joy for humankind. A mournful thing, so transient is the blaze. Thus might he paint our lot of mortal days, who once the glorious faculty assigned to elevate the more than reasoning mind, and colour life's dark cloud with orient rays. Imagination is that sacred power, imagination lofty and refined. 'Tis his to pluck the amaranthine flower of fate, and round the sufferer's temples bind wreaths that endure affliction's heaviest shower, and do not shrink from sorrow's keenest wind.
What heavenly smiles, O Lady mine, by William Wordsworth. What heavenly smiles, O Lady mine, from my very heart they shine. And if my brow gives back the light, to woe look gladly on the sight, as the clear moon with modest pride beholds her own bright beams, reflected from the mountain side and from the headlong streams. When I have borne in memory, by William Wordsworth, when I have borne in memory what was tamed great nations, how noble thoughts depart, when men change swords for ledgers, and desert with students' power for gold, some fiercer named ahead, my country, and I to be blamed. Now when I think of thee, and what thou art, I reel in the bottom of my heart, of those unfeigned fears I am ashamed. For dearly must we prize thee, we a fine and we a bulwark for the cause of man, and I by my affection was beguiled. What wonder if the poet know and when, among the many movements of his mind, failed to be as a lover or a child. Where's that world to which the fancy flies, by Anne Finch. Where's that world to which the fancy flies, when sleep excludes the present from our eyes? Whose map no voyager could e'er design, nor to description its wild parts confine. It's such a land of dreams we must allow, or nightly trace it, or we know not how. Unfettered by the day's obtruded roots, we all enjoy the paradise of fools, and find a sour and resuming sense, that breaks some free delight, and snatches us from thence. Where lies the land to which yon ship must go? By William Wordsworth. Where lies the land to which yon ship must go? Fresh as a lark mounting at break of day, festively she puts forth in trim array. Is she for tropic suns or polar snow? What boosts in inquiry? Neither friend nor foe she cares for. Let her travel where she may, she finds familiar names a beaten way ever before her, and the wind to blow. Yet still I ask, what haven is her mark? And almost as it was when ships were rare, from time to time, like pilgrims here and there crossing waters, daubed in something dark of the old seas, and reverential fear is with me at thy farewell joyous bark. Oh, fancied what a pretty sight, by William Wordsworth. Oh, fancied what a pretty sight as rock would be if edged around with living snowdrops, circled bright, how glorious with his orchard crowned, or laughed the little rock, and set upon its head with coronet. Was it the humour of a child, or rather of some little maid, whose prose the day when she was styled the shepherd queen where was arrayed, of man mature or matron sage, or old man toying with his age? As 'twas whispered that a wise to each and all might well belong. It is a spirit of paradise that prompts such work, a spirit strong, and used to all the self-same bend, where life is wise and innocent. With how sad steps, O moon, thou climbs the sky, by William Wordsworth. With how sad steps, O moon, thou climbs the sky, how silently, with how wan a face, where art thou? Thou so often seen on high, running among the clouds a wood nymph's race, unhappy nuns, whose common breaths a sigh, which they would stifle, move for such a pace. The northern wind to call thee to the chase must blow tonight his bugle-horn. Yet if the power of Merlin, goddess, we should be, and all the stars, fast as the clouds are driven, should sally forth to keep thee company, hurrying and sparkling from the clear blue heaven, but if Cynthia should to thee the palm be given, queen both for beauty and for majesty. With ships the sea was sprinkled far and nigh, by William Wordsworth. With ships the sea was sprinkled far and nigh, like stars in heaven, and joyously it showed. Some lying fast at anchor in the road, some rying up, one knew not why. A goodly vessel did I when espy, come like a giant from a haven broad. And lusty along the bay she strode, her tackling rich and of apparel high. The ship was naught to me, nor I to her. I pursued her with a lover's look, the ship to all the rest did I prefer. When will she turn? However, she brook no train, where she comes the winds must stir. On went she, and due northward Irwin took. Written in Germany on one of the coldest days of the century, by William Wordsworth. A plague on your languages, German and Norse. Let me have the song of the kettle, and the tongues and the poker, instead of that horse that gallops away with such fury and force, how straight that blade of black metal. See that fly, disconsolate creature, perhaps the child of a field or a grove, and saw for him that our treacherous heat has seduced the poor fool from his winter retreat, and creeps to the edge of my stove. Alas, how he fumbles about the domains which his comfortless oven environ. He cannot find out in what track he must crawl, nor back to the tiles when in search of the wall, nor on the brink of the iron. Stock still where he stands like a traveller bemazed. The best of his skill he has tried. His feelers, methinks, I can see him put forth, to the east and the west, to the south and the north, he finds neither guide-post nor guide. His spindles sink under him, foot, leg, and thigh. His eyesight and hearing are lost. Between life and death his blood freezes and thaws, and his two pretty pinions of blue dusky gauze are galled to his sides by the frost. Nor brother nor mate has he near him, while I can draw warmth from the cheek of my love, as blessed and as glad in this desolate gloom as the green summer grass were the floor of my room, and woodbines were hanging above. Yet God is my witness, for small helpless thing, the life I would gladly sustain, till summer came up from the south, and with crowds of her brethren a march, or should sound through the clouds, and back to the forests again. Written in London, by William Wordsworth. O friend, I know not which way I must look for comfort, being as I am oppressed to think that now life is only dressed for show, being handiwork of craftsman, cook or groom. We must run glittering like a brook in the open sunshine, or we are unblessed. The wealthiest man among us is the best. A conjoiner in nature and book delights us. Reap in avarice expense, this is idolatry, and these we adore. Plain living and high thinking are no more. The homely beauty of the good old cause is gone, or peace or fearful innocence, and pure religion breathing household laws. Written in March while resting on a bridge at the foot of Brothers Water, by William Wordsworth. The crowing, the stream is flowing, the small birds twitter, the lake doth glitter, the green field sleeps in the sun, the oldest and youngest are at work with the strongest, the cattle are grazing, the heads they're raising, they are fondly feeding like one. Like an army defeated, the snow half retreated, and no doth fare ill on the top of a bare hill. A plover is whooping, and anon airs a joy in the mountains, is life in the fountains, small clouds are sailing, blue sky prevailing, the rain is over and gone.
Written in March, by William Wordsworth. It is crowing, the stream is flowing, the small birds twitter, the lake doth glitter, the green field sleeps in the sun, the oldest and youngest are at work with the strongest, the cattle are grazing, their heads never raising, they are 40 feeding like one. Like an army defeated, the snow hath retreated, and now thou far ill on the top of a bare hill. The ploughboy is whooping anan. There's joy in the mountains, there's life in the fountains. Small clouds are sailing, blue sky prevailing, the rain is over and gone.
Yes, thou art fair, yet be not moved, by William Wordsworth. Yes, thou art fair, yet be not moved, with scorn the declaration that sometimes envy of love, by fancy's own creation. Imagination needs must stir, dear maid, with truly belief, minds that have nothing to call for find little to perceive. Be pledged that nature made me fit to feed my heart's devotion, by laws to which all forms submit in sky, earth, and ocean. Young England, by William Wordsworth. Young England, what is then become of dear old England? Think where she is dead to the very name. Presumption fed of empty air, that name will keep its hold in the true filial bosom's inmost fold for ever. The spirit of Alfred, at the head of all who for her rights watched, toiled and bled, knows that his prophecies not too bold. What ho! Shall she submit in will and deed, the beardless boys, an imitative race, the servant Pecos of a Gallic breed? Dear mother, if thou must thy steps retrace, go where at least make innocency dwells, that babes and sucklings be the oracles.